Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, we're doing this?
Bum, 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 bum.
Okay, wait. So
you
know what always happens when I hear that music? Instead of finishing it with Jaws, like the actual Jaws music, my mind goes to the Star Trek music. Like if you ever watch Cable Guy, when Jim Carrey is doing the middle of the times, he's like... So instead of it being actual Jaws music, it's a mashup of Jaws and the Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
I put those two together.
Okay.
So instead of, I don't know why, but that's how it goes for
That's
me.
a good intro. Are you recording? Let's keep going with this.
Yes, I am recording.
Hello, everyone. We are AlphaRookie. We're here with a movie marathon horror podcast.
Okay, so yeah, horror podcast now. Is Jaws a horror movie?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Of course it is. All right, everybody, before we start this Jaws podcast, I just want to remind you all that we do have a Patreon. Go check that out. Don't think that we're just trying to reel in the big fish. Even if you go there and just give us $1, that's might be a drop in the ocean, but it means a lot to us.
Yes. So to celebrate your 4th of July, America.
Yeah, Kyle said, are there any horror franchises associated with 4th of July? And I know that in the comments we're going to get, well, did you know about the 4th of July killer and the
Killer Sam?
Uncle Sam and some other fucking things? I'm sure there are. But in my mind, if there's a horror movie that is the most associated with the 4th of July.
Or summer in general.
Summer in general has got to be Jaws.
Now, disclaimer. If you're in Australia, I guess it's winter for you, so too bad for you. It's summer here. If you're in Siberia, I don't know. Do you even have summers? Is it always winter? I don't know. But it's summer here, so we're doing a summer movie, and it's Jaws.
You put Jaws on, and it'll make you feel warm by looking at it. Right.
If you live near the equator and you're on the south of the equator, it's hot there anyway, so it's summer all the year, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how physics works. So it's summer everywhere, everybody.
It's hot here, anyway.
If it's December when you listen to this and you live in North America, just remember, right now it's summer, not when you're listening to this.
We just explained seasons to everybody. Congratulations.
So there are 4 movies in the Jaws franchise.
Right, which is funny because...
there should only be one movie in the Jaws franchise.
There should only be one movie in the Jaws franchise.
And then knockoffs.
And I often forget, too, because anytime I start getting too precious about, how many fucking sequels does this movie fucking need, I remind myself, oh, right, yes, Jaws, which is my favorite movie, has 3 sequels.
I was going to say, let's just state it for everybody. This is your favorite movie by a long shot.
Everybody's like, oh, what if they remade Jaws? I'm like, they'll never remake Jaws. Steven Spielberg will have to be dead. They're not going to touch it. Everybody will do it. Like, it's this
but do you need
reverent thing, But then I remember, wasn't so reverent. We weren't all so reverent about it back then that we didn't feel like it needed 3 sequels. So Jaws is my favorite movie. That's a relatively new thing because people start asking you, what's your favorite movie? And I'm like, I don't know. I just like a lot of movies, but if I have to answer that, I guess Jaws is the movie I watched the most growing up. I've probably seen it more times than any other movie. And of course, that sometimes gets tied with like Alien or The Thing or, whatever. But if I have to pick one, if there's a gun to my head, I'm probably going to say Jaws.
Oh, what I was going to say do you really need a Jaws remake? Because
No.
What I mean by that is there's already so many shark movies.
Right. It's already inspired an entire genre where you're essentially remaking Jaws every time you try to do this. So the only way that you're remaking Jaws is if specifically you have characters like Brody, like Mayor Vaughn,
Or you call it Jaws.
Well, right. If you call it Jaws, sure.
You mean you could have Jaws?
But they were rip-off movies, like you said, from other countries that they didn't give a shit.
What I mean rip-off? I mean, 47 Meters Down just came out.
Right.
Shark movies are a thing. So, yes, it has its own genre. It doesn't need to be remade. But Steven Spielberg is older than you, so he's going to die before you...
I know. That's what I keep thinking. I said one of the last kick in the nuts when I'm really old will be like, well, here it is. They did it.
That's my fear about Back to the Future, because Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale are both like, not while we're alive, we refuse to do a 4th movie or remake it or anything. I go, well, if I live to be a regular person, they're going to die before I die, which means there could be a Back to the Future remake in my lifetime, which scares me.
Well, that's pretty much how Spielberg felt about a sequel, which we'll talk about later. But so he wasn't so precious about it that he didn't have an idea for one. So
let's get into it.
Later. Yeah, I expect to actually talk more about the sequels in this podcast because it's like, have you not seen Jaws? I don't know what to say about this movie that hasn't already been said.
Let me drop the bombshell on you. I still haven't watched the first half of Jaws.
Okay.
Well, I literally watched
it. You just sit back. I will talk to our audience. I
know that makes you so mad because we've talked about this before. I'm like, do I really have to watch the first half? I mean, who cares, right? And so when me and my wife sat down to watch it, she didn't want to watch the first half either. I said maybe I'll get around to it before then, but I ran out of time, so I literally just watched the last 45 minutes again.
And of course, I have this fantasy that will just be a litany of comments underneath this video calling you an asshole. We just call it the Kyle's an Asshole podcast, but you admit it, so it's the first step, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't. It's just I already know what happens in Jaws, so I want to get right to the good shit. I go right. Well, whatever. I was gonna phrase it a different way, but I skipped to the end. Let's just say.
Okay.
But I did watch the other 3. Maybe I watched them at like 30% speed or something, 30% extra because, oh my God, they're so slow. But I did that. I watch them.
Should I just talk about Jaws then?
So Jaws 2.
You don't have anything to say except for the second half of the movie, maybe?
Let's just not talk about Jaws for an hour. But yeah, go for it. It's your favorite movie, go for it. Talk Jaws.
What do you mean not talk about? I just said, do you want me to talk about Jaws? And then you just said...
No, because we always talk about the first movie in a series way too long.
No, I won't. I don't want to talk about it for too long. Why don't you just ask me, Ryan, what is it you like about Jaws so much?
What happened in Jaws?
I'm not going to do what happened in Jaws. You've either seen Jaws or you haven't seen Jaws.
Well, I haven't seen Jaws, so tell me what happens at the beginning.
Jaws is 2 movies.
Give me the first hour. Sum it up for quick.
The first hour, the one that you don't like watching, the first movie, is a horror film. It's a monster film. It's scary, people getting picked off at a beach.
How similar is it to the first half of Jaws 2?
Very similar.
Then I've seen the Jaws.
Well, yeah, but it was done way much better. The first one, with one of the greatest opening scenes of all time, and it's fucking Spielberg.
Oh wait, sorry. Actually, no. I'm sorry. Let me rewind for a second here.
Wait, are you going to say that you watch the first scene, then you skip ahead to the?
No. I watched the first half of Jaws at 8 times speed with subtitles, and I absorbed what happened. I saw Quint show up and say $10,000. And I think the sign said $3,000. So I saw that. I saw a bunch of random fishermen try to go out and catch a shark. They caught a different shark or something that wasn't Jaws. Like I visually saw the first half of the movie in about 5 minutes.
Okay, I was wrong. This is not the Kyle's an Asshole podcast. This is the Ryan Hates Kyle with every fiber of his being podcast, and I'm sitting here smoldering podcast. God, you're a Philistine. I don't know I don't know what to do with you.
Okay, so when we've done these before, I've what was the last one we did? It's Alive. I got excited to watch like the second one, and I think maybe Leprechaun. I got excited to watch each one as they went because they were pretty ridiculous. I don't know what it was, and maybe it's just the time of my life right now, and like busy, and the kids, these little ones getting even bigger, so it's getting me like really hard. And the terrible twos are coming for the second one. I did not want to watch these movies. I had it was a chore. I had to watch the 4 Jaws movies. Where normally I'm like, yeah, cool, let's watch these whenever. I don't know, just this week I just didn't want to do it. So I was apprehensive about the whole thing, and then I just was like, first half, 8 times speed. Okay, there's a guy. They went out there, okay, they do this. Okay, all right, then now Jaws is coming. All right, play, They got the orca, play.
And I would understand.
Also, I watched Jaws 2 before I went back and watched the first Jaws. Even though I've already seen, I've seen it before many times throughout the years, the second half.
Well, and you would be excused for doing this if you had ever seen the first half at any point.
I really haven't.
Jesus. Okay. Well, the first half is just as brilliant as the second half, even if there's not as much shark stuff in it.
I disagree.
You're crazy, man.
You're supposed to say, how do you know you haven't watched it?
Yeah, and also, how would you know you haven't fucking watched it?
Because the second half of that movie, I would say, is probably the best 40 to 45 minutes of cinema.
Only because it's like setup and payoff. You can't have one without the other.
Oh, but they're set up and payoff within those 45 minutes too, though.
I am not going to accept any of these things that come out of your mouth because it's funny because I was actually talking to somebody else about you when it came to this and the difference between the way I watch movies and the difference between the way I watch movies and the way you watch movies. It had to do with the subtitles because you were in addition to you getting angry with me for not putting some subtitles on a file rip for a movie that I gave to you. Because I told you, I said, if I can understand, I'd rather only understand 80% of what's being said and focus on actually what's happening in the movie than be distracted by subtitles. I'm constantly distracted by subtitles.
I understand, but there's also the issues where, like, say in the third one, where I want to say the Australian guy's talking, and I don't know what he's saying. I think even one of the characters in the movie is like, what are you saying? There are times where I might want to turn it on for a moment because I can't understand what somebody's saying.
Right, but that's not, you watch all your movies with subtitles all the time. Do you not?
I also read an article that's really good to do with your kids because it helps them learn to read better.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Don't get sensitive about.
Let's just. Okay, I feel when you read a book versus watching a movie, you're more engrossed. Correct?
No, wait, not always. No,
wait. when you read a book, there's you get sucked in. There's more words. Like,
that's your opinion. It depends on the book. It depends on the movie.
There's like
you're just like discounting the magic of cinema. Like
no, I'm just saying that like the written word has a way of making you focus more. You understand every single word that is said versus someone just talking.
Yeah, it also lacks pacing. It also lacks control of tone.
But you don't.
Right?
Right, but you're not supposed to read it.
Because somebody go, hey, and you go, what? And you turn your head away from looking at the book, and now all of a sudden if you're in the middle of a tense scene or something like that, or you scratch your ass, or you any number of things. Like
why would that pull me out? I just go right back into reading again.
But it's pacing. Because like you would have to, unless you're fucking with the movie by pausing the movie is complete control of its pacing by just having it be a thing that you watch from beginning to end.
I pause the movie when I need to.
You do. This is my whole point. Whenever I try to watch anything, sit down and endeavor to have as few distractions as humanly possible, including subtitles. Also, which was my real point that I wanted to get to, and we're already talking about this too long, is you take... Okay, so you gave me a bunch of movies on file.
This really is a podcast about how you hate me in movies.
you gave me a bunch of files, and I saw you had Death Proof, and I'm like, oh cool, I kind of in the mood to watch Death Proof while I eat my food. And what I wanted to watch was I wanted to see fucking Kurt Russell in the bar. Like I wanted to watch the first half of that movie, and I put it on, and it's what's her face getting on the hood of the car, and I'm just like, there's something wrong with it, and I'm trying to rewind to get it back, and I'm like, motherfucker, I text you, I say, where's the rest of the movie? You said, this is the only part I watch. You drive me insane. But in this Jaws thing you're talking about is like, it's just so indicative of this mindset that you're just like, movies are only worth their best parts.
No,
movies are only worth their best, most exciting parts.
I'm older, I'm busier, I don't have as much time, and I have a lot more distractions in my life.
That is much more sympathetic.
So I can't sometimes.
That's fine, but that's not what you lead with. You lead with, the first half's boring. That's what you're saying.
For I don't need the first half of that movie because I already know they're going to go get a shark. And in Death Proof, I saw it in theaters. I watched it more than once. I never need to watch Kurt Russell in the bar.
How do you not enjoy Brody, like the movie's introduction to the world of Amity and Martha's Vineyard and stuff, and these long shots of Brody like talking to the mayor and talking to the guy about the kids karate chopping his fence, and Richard Dreyfuss coming into town.
Because
I
already know what's in this movie. So unfortunately, see, Jaws 2 I watched because I've never seen. Well, that's not true. I kind of knew some things about Jaws 2, but I got it mixed up with I didn't know which part was in Jaws 2, Jaws 4, Jaws 3, because I've seen bits and pieces of the entire series over time. So 2, I actually sat down and watched, and it was like, oh, this is refreshing. I'm driving a Jeep through the streets. I liked it. But the first one, I'm like, I kind of already have seen past all this.
So you fast-forwarded through the part where he's sitting down on the beach and trying to relax, and the edit, like, it's fucking incredible. Literally, people, as they walk past the camera, is where it's cutting from back and forth between Roy Scheider's perspective and what's actually like his face, and then his perspective adds what's in the beach. And it's raising the tension in terms of like thinking that he's seeing something out there, but it's not. It's just an old guy with a Speedo cap on his head. And the editing is impeccable and it's amazing. And then eventually when a kid actually gets eaten, the camera zooms into his face.
Oh,
and
does it? Yeah.
This thing, holy shit. And then all the people freaking out, and he's telling them, no whistles, stop whistles, because he knows people are going to get trampled on their way out. It's an incredible scene. Fast forward right past that shit, and then we're going to fast forward through the part where Roy Scheider got slapped in the face by the lady whose kid died because he didn't close the beaches.
She said you knew and you didn't say anything.
Yeah, that scene's good. But that scene's good. But the scene that's great is the one where he's drinking and he's feeling bad and his kid's there and he's doing the thing where the kid's mimicking the things that he's doing with his hands and stuff like that while the wife watches in the background. It's an incredible shot with depth.
That's why they did that in the fourth one then, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm basically just saying, you're my friend. I do love you. You're my partner in all this, but we do need to actually just move past this because all I'm going to do is just be angry. So I feel like just by doing that, I've talked enough about the first half of the movie. So let's just talk about the second half of the movie.
Good, because we didn't really need to see. You didn't need to talk about the first half that much. You know how they do that shot?
That's my olive branch to you.
You know that zoom in shot you're talking about? You know how they do that?
Yeah, they like move the camera in while zooming out. Is that, or is it the opposite?
Or the other? You can do both. Like kind of.
Okay, yeah.
There's a mixture too. Yeah, it's a really cool effect.
Fucking, I hate you so much right now. Okay, so
this is your series. I'm going to let you talk about most of it. Yeah.
Jaws is 2 movies. The first movie you don't like. That's fine.
I didn't say I don't like it. I just didn't have time for
It's
it.
too boring. It's 2 movies.
I had to watch The Great Wall.
Okay.
I had to watch Matt Damon
had to watch that.
Stab some greed monsters on the Great Wall of China.
Here's what I love about Jaws. And it has to do with this 2 movies, because you can split it up, just like you said, into basically 2 halves. You have the one movie, which I just talked about, then you have the other movie, which is a high seas adventure film. And you can tell by the music. We made the joke, you doing the dun 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 dun. Everybody knows that fucking music, but
it's also John Williams.
That score by John Williams runs the gamut. It evokes dread, but there's also points where it's got flutes coming in and stuff like that, and it's very like, oh my god, it's very exciting.
I don't mean to like say it in a bad way. I just mean like, of course, it's the guy who scored Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean it's John Williams.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
it's like saying like, oh, Hans Zimmer came out with a really good score. It's like, yeah, I'd expect him to.
Right. Now. And I say that only because I guess when people think of Jaws, they think of like people getting eaten out in the water, and they think of the music, and they think of it being a scary horror film. But there's a lot of, again, high seas adventure, man versus nature kind of thing on the high seas. And to be fair to you,
really the high seas is more like the perfect storm. Like big ass waves.
I kind of think that. I mean, they go, well, sure. I just mean like pirates and shit. Like it's like they're out in a boat and they go out in the middle of the ocean.
I don't think they're in the middle of the ocean.
Well,
they're like 2 miles.
You can't see land from where they're at.
Yeah, you can.
That's only in that last shot at the end. I feel like it's kind of a mistake.
Well, he says I'm trying to drag him into the shallows.
Right.
Like,
they're not that. You're right. They're not that far out, but it's fucking far. Like if the boat sank, you're gonna die. You know, it's not.
You're not gonna swim back to shore.
Right. Which they do because they have barrels.
You know what's also the end of that movie always makes me think of Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's. Why? Because they're on the speedboat and they run out of gas, and so they paddle back to shore using Bernie instead of the barrels. Okay. They use Bernie and then they kick their way back.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think I want to say they watched Jaws and then made that scene with Bernie instead of the barrels. Weekend at Bernie's, some of the best movies you've ever seen.
To be fair to you, when I was a kid watching Jaws, I would never skip to the second half. However, because it was VHS.
Also, we were watching it on TV.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. No, I have videotape.
VCR.
However,
and a VCR is like a thing that.
God, that is an inside joke because we made a joke about like old technology and somebody got really sensitive about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
which I literally was like, and I went and asked some kids, and I was like, they're like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, see, I was fucking right.
I'm always anticipating that part of the movie. The orca, when the orca pulls out of the harbor, that's the beginning of this amazing part of the film.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I was always just waiting for that to happen, but I always watched the whole movie. This is a kind of film, and it's typically a monster film, but it doesn't have to be. The whole man versus nature kind of thing that I still am. It's a dragon I'm always constantly chasing, and I still think it's yet to be topped. I feel like everything just assumes it's never going to be as good as Jaws is.
You mean when it's man versus nature?
This particular kind of story that they're telling, where you're...
Shit, you've never watched the movie with Robert Redford, where it's on a boat.
I guess specifically...
It's literally against nature.
I guess I specifically mean like a creature, I guess.
Yeah, because that one, like, he has to fight against I got a hole in the hole.
Right.
A hole in the hole. He's got to try to get in the water, and then he gets a life raft, and he's in a life raft, and then gets turned over at middle of the night with waves. I mean, that's literally like fighting against the ocean, but...
It's like... the whole second half of the movie is almost like climax. It's almost like
it's one long no.
It's like, how many movies have you seen where you kind of think that maybe the movie is winding down, or you're getting close to the part where you're in that final leg, and then it just goes and goes, but not in a bad way where you get bored, but you're like, I had no idea I was going to be rewarded with this this much cool shit.
Right.
That's like how the second half of Jaws feels when you watch it. Okay,
so, I mean, no mention of the fact that it's 1975. So it's not easy to shoot a movie on water, on boats, with camera equipment way back then and film and stuff. And the fact that this movie, like how many days, like Steven Spielberg went way over budget, way over production schedule. Like he was like at like 160 something days or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's documentaries about all this stuff. The Shark Is Not Working is, I think the name of actually one of the documentaries on the Blu-ray.
But just like literally Jaws is... It's a miracle that it got finished and released, and of course it blew up and was.
It is.
Literally, Jaws blew up. Didn't do. But no, I mean there was. It's like Francis Ford Coppola making Apocalypse Now. You know, like this could have ended Spielberg's career.
Right.
Which is crazy because then we went on IMDb and you're like, look at how many things Spielberg has done, not just directing, but his producing power. The guy has the most flawless, not flawless. I mean, he's not perfect, but he probably has the close to most flawless record in Hollywood of anybody.
Yeah, people take it for granted that Steven Spielberg is the most household name when it comes to film directing, but it's for good reason.
Right. And this could have sunk his career. Another one.
On a roll.
I'm going to start making fucking boat puns this whole way through.
So, yeah, I mean, we don't need to talk about how the movie was made.
He was hungry for those box office dollars.
Just stop it. Did you ever see Duel?
Duel?
Yeah.
Which is about what?
That was the movie he did before this.
No.
It's kind of not the reason he got the job, but it's sort of that's where like kind of it meshed because Duel is Richard Matheson. It was I think he wrote it.
He was credited as a writer on third Jaws 3.
Yeah, which I'll talk about that.
All right, let's wrap up Jaws 1.
All right, just real quick though, because if you love Jaws, you should watch Duel. It's not as good as Jaws, but like the reason why Spielberg kind of fit for the kind of movie that Jaws is supposed to be is because Duel is about a movie. It's a movie about a guy in a little car that's like making across like a long drive, like the middle of the desert, and he gets stalked and terrorized by a mysterious giant semi truck.
So it's Joyride.
It's Joyride, yeah. Joyride is essentially kind of a.
So would you say this? I do know what Duel is. Actually, I might have seen part of it. I have seen some of that movie. So if that and Joyride are the exact same movie, and Joyride's newer, looks better, and sounds better, does that mean automatically Joyride's a better movie?
All right, so we're going to move on now because I want to continue working with you on things.
If Paul Walker's in a movie. Does that automatically
Joyride's fine. Joyride's fine. Joyride's fine. Pink champagne. Right? Pink champagne?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Why are you doing that? Talk to me.
Okay. Sorry, usually we spend a long time in the first movie, but whatever. You've seen Jaws, you have.
It's kind of hard
know
to
why it's amazing. Like, you know, I don't need to sit here and explain to you why it's an amazing movie.
My wife goes like, why did he hit the radio with the baseball bat? Now how are you going to call anybody? I'm like, because he's fucking crazy.
That's why. The point.
His whole thing is, I'm either going to kill this fish or I'm going to get killed by this fish.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the end of the discussion with Quint, you know.
And I love Roy Scheider. It's also it's the quintessential 70s movie, and I've already talked about in podcasts how I fetishize 70s films. Hoopa! Steady now.
I mean, is there any particular... Jaws eats the boat, and then Jaws gets blown up by a tank of compressed air.
Yeah.
Is there any particular thing anyone want to discuss, like Quentin getting eaten, or...
No, I mean, all that stuff's great. I've dressed up as Quentin for Halloween.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Multiple Halloweens. He's one of the best characters.
If you have a kid, are you going to name him Quint?
No. You know what's funny is as I get older, the character that I actually like more is Brody.
Oh, no, Hooper's the best one.
That's so funny how
he just
everybody
fucking sticks his tongue out and with his fingers and everything. Like, he's the scientist who is right and wrong, while Quentin is also right and wrong. Like, you know, because he's all like, hey, you're college educated, can't admit when you're wrong. But he's like, no, that's not a fucking shark. Like,
it's not a shark. It might be a marlin.
Right.
But at
the same time, he's like, you're going to blow the engine out. Like, you're being crazy. So it's that those two characters together is actually who Brody is. Brody, right? Those are his conscience, not his conscience, but those are his two sides.
Yeah.
There's the Hooper and the Quint of it. Yeah. So, right? I mean, am I right in analyzing that movie?
Well, I mean, the character, when they're sitting down to the script, I mean, obviously the character triangle is brilliant. You have the two people that are going to face off with each other, and then you have one guy that's kind of in the middle. And then eventually when those guys come together at the end, sort of when they tell their stories, it's funny because each one of them is comparing their scars and connecting with each other in a way that makes Brody insecure, where he kind of like, I think I have a scar. Like, lifts his shirt up, and he feels almost sheepish, like that he doesn't have something to share.
Which is actually, that was a really good scene, because that's where Hooper goes like, yeah, I might be some college-educated science boy, but look, I've been in the shit too. No,
right.
maybe not the shit.
No, but that's the idea.
He wasn't a nom, but yeah, he's been around the block with sharks and stuff. But that's actually one of the scenes I wanted, showing my wife just the whole, because she's like, I don't think I've ever watched, she's like, I've seen, but I've never really watched it.
So you just showed her the Indianapolis, USS Indianapolis?
No, but I wanted her, like, that was this scene in my mind that sticks out as like, yeah, you're watching the boat stuff, you're watching the action, quote unquote, but when you get to that scene, it's when you kind of like fall in love with the characters. You get drawn into this whole trichotomy, I guess you could say, of these,
sure,
you know, Quint's crazy, Quint's an asshole, Quint's whatever, but when he tells that story, you're like, I see why.
Right.
And you have sympathy for the guy, because he's hard. He's rock fucking hard. He's like, you know. That
story, by the way, was written.
I believe it. Yeah, there's. I don't know if it's actually about.
I'm an asshole for not remembering his name.
It probably is the USS Indianapolis, but I mean that's more than one time that's been a story of guys during World War II, boats that sunk.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's not a real story. I'm saying that specific part of the script was written by a completely different guy. And he was a friend to Spielberg and Coppola. Right. He came up with all those guys. He directed Conan, and he actually had written not all of, but some of the most memorable moments in Apocalypse Now, like the I love the smell of napalm in the morning, like that whole thing by Robert Duvall. I am such an asshole for not remembering this guy's name. The comments,
look it
yeah, it's killing me.
Just keep talking.
Anyway, so that's kind of he actually. He did Red Dawn. He wrote. I'm pretty sure he wrote.
Carl Gottlieb?
No, that's the guy who actually wrote the script. Or like at least worked on most of the script.
Peter Benchley?
He might not be credited. It might not be an IMDb thing.
Peter Benchley wrote Jaws, the book.
You need to look up. You need to type in USS Indianapolis speech, like something like that.
Did he direct Red Dawn or did he write it?
He directed Red Dawn. I'm pretty sure. He definitely directed Conan.
The original Red Dawn, not the remake.
The original Red Dawn.
John Milius.
John Milius.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now that you say it, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
John Milius is sort of like legendary Hollywood guy for like coming in and writing these just like really like powerful, manly, dialogue for your movies. And he was like notoriously like a right winger, like.
A Frank Miller of sorts.
Yeah, like carried guns. He was really being a man and like motorcycles. There's a really good John Milius documentary on Netflix if you're
very Dan O'Bannon.
Is he Dan O'Bannon?
Well, but you know about his like guns and everything, right? That
no,
story.
I didn't know that.
Oh, when that's a tangent. The girl who played in Return of the Living Dead, the I forgot her name, but the squeaky clean one. She got casted, whatever. And she went to Dan O'Bannon's house.
Oh, I do remember that.
And she walked in, and there's just like guns on the table, guns in here. And she got freaked out, or whatever. There's porn on the TV and guns on the table.
Yeah, it sounds about right. That's like sounds like John Milius.
And then it's funny because Dan O'Bannon said like when I got married and I had a kid, like all the guns went away. He's like, I got rid of. He's like, I realized I kind of saw what I was like and why, and I'm like, no, it's too much of a safety issue. But yeah, I remember his whole thing was like, there's guns everywhere all the time.
Okay, Jaws 2. No, not yet.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest lines ever.
Is it?
Yes.
It's kind of sucks.
In fact,
that,
it is.
Hooper just goes away and then just shows up again. Like there was no like two guys at the end.
I kind of wonder. I wonder what the decision was to. The obvious thing it seemed like to do would be to make the audience think that he didn't make it, right? And so when he pops up later, but maybe that would feel like maybe that goes back to Spielberg, not being a manipulative director. He doesn't cheat. It would be just too easy to be like, oh, and here he is, and look, everybody's still alive. Like fucking Mario Van Peebles, the end for revenge.
I mean, is more like. His use to propel the plot forward other than showing that Jaws can fuck up a shark tank, Hooper kind of just disappears.
Right.
And then shows up again. Like he didn't play any pivotal role in the end of the movie. The climax of the climax.
You have the compressed air. You wouldn't have had that without him.
Right. He makes his poison, drops it, goes down, but then never gets it.
The only thing, it's just to raise the stakes. That's all.
Right.
It's just one more. That's what's amazing. You keep raising the stakes. Like, let's try this. Now we're trying this. You start with a fishing pole, and now now you're leveling up to barrels. Now you're leveling up to shark cage.
Is this a video game?
Kinda, in some way. It's funny that you say that. Oh, God, we need to stop talking about this. Let's talk about the sequel.
This is literally like what Cuphead, or it's like it's a video game with only a boss.
I mean, you have things like Shadow of the Colossus, which I've never played that game, but I
played it.
Nobody knows how to make a good Jaws game, like, because they just say it's impossible, right? Like, what do? You need to have multiple enemies. Like, you need to have, you know what I mean? But I don't see why a talented design person could not make a game that revolves around one threat. What?
Then go play the NES. We were going to talk about NES Jaws later because I played a lot of Jaws when I was a kid, the NES game. But that's when we get to the fourth movie. It's the fourth movie, but the Jaws video game is really good, and it kind of really is about the big threat of Jaws. Like there's jellyfish, and there are like manta rays and other stuff. Really, the only other big real threat is like another shark will come, like a small shark.
Yeah.
But Jaws is. It's one of those games where I can't think of a good example right now off the top of my head, but where like you have to wear down a boss character over a long period of time. Jaws, you fight Jaws throughout the game. Mm-hmm. Like he has a power meter that's just like, you imagine, those games you play and it's like it fills up the power meter and then it fills it up again with another color and then another color and another color. Yeah. It's kind of like, it would feel like that in a modern game. He has so much power, but you fight him many, many, many times before you get to the quote end of the game and actually try to kill him. You just lay spears into him constantly, and he's just like taking it, and his power will go down by like one mark. So you have to do that a lot of times.
You're giving the NES Jaws game some credit here.
I'm giving it a big thumbs up. It's because it literally starts. There's no menu. There's no options. There's nothing. You press the start button, and the game just begins, and you're on a boat.
Right.
And then you swim around, and you go. It's like
They
a final.
drop cannonballs on him, right? Like
Well,
bombs?
that's so. When I was watching the fourth movie, I was going, "Is someone gonna fly by and drop like a bomb or anything?" Because I know that happens. No, I mean it takes some liberty, obviously, with the license, but you mainly turn into a guy who's just swimming underwater with a unlimited ammo spear gun.
You're shooting like starfish and shit, right? Like stingrays and things.
Stingrays and jellyfish, and they'll drop crabs, and they'll drop. So you get shell. Okay, with fourth movie, we'll get to it in time with the fourth movie. So Jaws 1, Jaws.
Yeah.
How many Jaws out of Jaws? 5 Jaws out of Jaws.
5 million Jaws out of Jaws. Million Jaws.
5 sharks out of
All the Jaws.
all the Jaws. How many teeth out of 25? How many teeth does a shark have?
I don't know.
Let's just say 42. 42 teeth out of 42 on Jaws?
That's
Yeah, sure.
That's what it is.
All right, Jaws Dos.
Jaws Dos.
Even though I feel like Jaws the Revenge is a bad name for the fourth one because
Right.
it really should be the second one.
It sure took its time to. It was meticulously planning its revenge, Count of Monte Cristo style, old boy style.
Hello, boy. For example, a great white has approximately 50 teeth at any one time.
That was pretty close. You said 42.
Yeah, I had a good idea there. So 50 teeth out of 50 for Jaws 1.
Are we really going to do every movie? How many teeth out of how many teeth? I have to think of it on a 50,
5 bites out of 5.
A 50-point scale. Okay.
How many limbs did Jaws bite off of this character? This like 5 limbs out of 5.
Only one limb in the first movie.
No, I'm just like as a rating system.
Okay.
Jaws 2.
Jaws 2.
1978. Directed by. It doesn't matter because it's not Steven Spielberg, right?
Yeah, this is not Spielberg.
No, I think whoever, which I will find right now, whoever directed Jaws 2 did a really good job.
There was more than one director.
He did a really good job remaking Jaws.
Right. There was actually one director on before who shot for like a month. And
Schwartz.
That's the guy who actually, took the movie through most of it into the finish line. The other guy's probably not going to be credited. But they didn't like it because his movie, the stuff he had shot or the direction he was going was a much darker tone that they wanted. They wanted something much brighter. Which seems like a weird thing to say about Jaws, but a brighter movie like the first movie. Whereas what he was doing, I guess, was a lot darker. There's some elements, I guess, from the Peter Benchley novel where like the mob is involved with like Amity Island and stuff like that. In the town officials and whatnot.
I actually had the novel of Jaws when I was a kid, and I remember specifically because there was a girl on the cover where you could see her boob. So
Yeah.
I would look at the picture,
as one does.
As one does when they're a child. But I read Jaws. I don't remember anything about it.
I've never read Jaws.
I remember having the book and the cover getting ripped off. So I had the book with no cover.
So what's the point? The boob's not there anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to happen. I think I lent it to somebody, and then the cover came back without a cover, or so maybe he was looking at the boob. I don't
keeping
really
the
know.
boob underneath his pillow.
Yeah. Hey, when I watched Friday the 13th part 6, there's like a part where a naked girl gets pulled underwater, and I remember like, boob. I'm a boy. I was a boy. What do boys do? Look at boobs.
So this movie was going to, I guess at one point, some script was going to have the mob involved again, and it was just going to be, in general, kind of a darker film. There's actually some of that footage.
I guess they washed the mob out of that script.
Stop it. So there's actually some of the footage that he shot in that movie, and you can kind of tell it's a darker movie because if you remember at the beginning, the first time you see the shark, kind of like the fin comes up, he sort of like arrives in Amity, and it's at night. And you probably don't remember. It's kind of I thought it was a cool shot. He kind of arrives. It's also like the first time they kind of foreshadow the electric pipe towards the beginning as well.
It's when they're doing a trough to.
That's the second time.
The
pipe is
I
foreshadowed.
the first one.
Just to get electric pipe. Remember this later. Spielberg.
I really have to trawl the depths of my mind to remember that scene.
You're really not gonna stop.
Not gonna stop.
So
I'm literally sitting here just like a pun, boat, water, pummel, wave.
I'd like to wave goodbye to these puns. So
shit! All right, we're done. Podcast is over. You win.
The Spielberg would have made a sequel because he saw
a barrel roll right out of that.
Are we ever going to talk about this movie? Now I do actually. Everything we were talking about podcast earlier. I'm like Alex right now. Fuck you. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. Shit. Okay, so there's no way they weren't going to make a sequel to Jaws. It made an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
So it was a question of...
Also, John Williams also scored Jaws too.
He did. He did a good job.
When I was watching the credit sequence, I was really surprised to see his name. I'm like... Because usually something this big, you don't have Spielberg attached again. And obviously with any like real big movie like that, you know, it's going to be like handed off and you're going to make... The sequels are never going to be as good. This isn't Terminator 2. This isn't Aliens. This isn't James Cameron coming. This is someone you don't know. So I was surprised to see John Williams attached to this. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, there's still some name besides the actors, you know, it means something to see someone like that still on the board rather than going, yeah, I did my Jaws thing, you know, do whatever you want. He said, no, I'll come and do it again, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was a proper studio film, you know?
Yeah.
They still spent a lot of money on it. Like, if you watch the behind-the-scenes documentary and see, like, the setup for the mechanical shark and stuff, it looks insane. It looks like some kind of a steampunk
That's actually
novel.
something we should, from the first one and this one as well. The shark looks amazing. And when they had that footage of the first one, when the shark cage, they had, you know, they got like a real shark doing that. It's a good-looking shark, and they do a lot of trickery to make you really get fucking scared. Like, that thing is huge. It's fucking huge.
In the first movie.
When if go that boat right next to, I don't go in the ocean anymore.
Yeah.
And I would like to think, it's not because it's totally because of fucking Jaws.
I mean, when the shark comes out of the water, it looks goofy.
Because it's a big scary shark. But I mean, yeah.
But the shots they have, I mean, when it goes under the boat and they first see it, he goes, that's a 20-footer. And Quint goes, 25, 5 tons on him.
And that's the thing is, I go like, was that big? Like, it's hard. Scale for a human, you go, yeah, it's 20 feet. You're like, I don't.
You don't need somebody to tell you that. You get the scale because you see it go under the boat.
What I'm saying is, like, it's big. It looks huge.
Yeah.
The number doesn't mean anything. So my wife goes, if I can pick your phone up. It's like, the biggest great white ever like caught, 7,000 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit.
You know,
that's like a bear is big. How much does a bear weigh? How much does a horse weigh? Shark weighs 7,000 pounds. My God.
Speaking of Jaws ripoffs, one of the better ones is an alligator or crocodile movie called Rogue. I don't know if you've seen that one.
You've talked about Rogue.
I like
before.
that movie a lot. That animal is ridiculous. It's huge. And the behind the scenes thing there, they're talking about the crocodiles get caught in the Northern Territory, and they said that we couldn't actually make our digital shark as big as the ones that have actually been caught. Crocodiles.
Crocodile. Sorry. You said shark.
Sorry. Well, I said shark ripoff.
No, you just said your shark. Whatever.
All right, fuck me. Whatever.
Well, I don't want to do that, but
do you want to fuck this crocodile? Okay, where? So the crocodile that, you know what I mean? The crocodiles, if they made it as big as the ones that they actually have been recorded, they didn't think it would be, the audience wouldn't buy it.
Right. So like Lake Placid. Wait, isn't that the one with like the
Lake Placid? Yeah, it's the one where you have
gigantic fake one.
God, what's her name? She died. Betty Davis, saying feeding. She's like, I hate all you. I'm voting for I'm rooting for the crocodile. I haven't seen Lake Placid in a long time. I need to watch that too.
Jaws 2.
Jaws 2. So Spielberg, the production was in trouble, and he actually said, okay, maybe I'll do it, but this is the way that I would do it. I'll only do it if we make it like a prequel film and we make it about Quint's story about the USS Indianapolis. And they just assumed
that's not what Jaws 2 is.
No, it's not. It's the furthest thing away from it. So, but you know, the studio said like, no, that's too far away from what we say Jaws is. So that's not what we're doing. So Spielberg's out. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, what Jaws 2 movie do you make? Here it is. Here's another one.
Okay, so the premise that they came up with Jaws 2 is literally the same one for 3 and 4. It's just, it's just another shark.
I mean, this one they amp up the conflict between Brody and the town because they kind of amp up the whole paranoia angle for him, which is a little bit weird just because, like, they've already all dealt with a giant shark. Wouldn't they be all at least a little bit more open to the idea that that's what's happening?
Because once he like kind of sows the seeds of like, I think there's a shark out there, they're like, oh, but that's bad for tourism and business.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, do you not remember the last time?
Right.
But yeah, they're right. I mean, they're the asshole developer, greedy businessman, and mayor who has, the money is important to them.
But it does result in some of my favorite stuff from the Jaws franchise. There's a scene where it's kind of almost like a mirror scene of so that scene.
Let's go through the movie. So
now we're actually because we're recounting plot because we assume nobody's seen these.
No, I like to recount plot. So
no, I'm saying it's okay for these ones because probably nobody
I don't
has.
think many people have seen Watch Me Jaws. I like the beginning because it's 2 divers and they find the wreckage of the orca.
Yeah, which I liked. There was some fan service that worked for me.
Right, it's very much like you said, fan service because it immediately connects you to the first movie and you go, I know where we are, I know what's going on. Cool, it's the exact same thing. They both just get eaten by another Jaws.
Right.
Unless Jaws regrew his head or something. I'm assuming it's just another great white.
Just another big shark.
And they had a camera, underwater camera that took pictures of the whole. Well, you assume it took pictures of the whole thing, and then they find the camera and they give it to Brody at some point, and I'm like, they don't develop the film
not right away. They don't have that idea right away.
Right. So that was, and it was kind of disappointing. So I'm like, dude, just fucking look at the camera. Like it's just gonna tell you. So that's how it starts, and then how does Brody think that there's a
So the second big big like death or whatever.
Oh, also
is
he has 2 kids. One of his kids is a teenager, like 17 years old, and they're there on the island, and his kids want to hang out with all his friends, and dad's like, no, you gotta work, and don't go in the water because of sharks. And he has an infant, not infant. He has 3-year-old child.
No, he's older than that. The one that goes with him on the boat?
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I was thinking of there's a part.
There's 2 kids. There's 2 brothers.
Yeah, he's 9.
Yeah, that's about right.
So there's another one, and the other one's where there's a young child playing in the sand. I can't remember which one that is. So that's the setup for this one. How do we get to the shark?
So the big, probably evocative scene that they end up putting in the poster is the water skier. That's the big action set piece. Which, well, whatever. Too many details. I think that the director ended up directing the whole thing, kind of got the job because he either said, this is how I would do that scene. Like he kind of broke it all down from the script. This is how that scene makes sense.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But, he did a good job. So yeah, it's the water skier. The shark takes out the water skier, and then.
So is that before or after the killer whale shows up?
That is that's before. Excuse me.
Okay, so
it's pretty early in the movie.
So the first,
from what I remember,
besides the divers getting eaten, it literally is the first time that there's a shark thing. Is the one lady driving a boat with one what do you call it, a water skier? Is that what it is, on a rope?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's two people. So the person on the ski, she falls and she's like, oh, and then Jaws takes a bite out of the ski and eats her.
Right.
The person takes the boat around to go get him, not knowing that the shark ate her. And she's like, where are you? And then this is where Jaws is not just a big shark, because Jaws is kind of smart. All the Jaws is I'm gonna eat the boat. I want you. It's not just a shark. It's not just eating the water. It's I'm gonna knock you out of your boat. I'm gonna eat your fucking boat too.
Right.
Okay. You already know where I'm going with this, probably, right? Okay, so he takes a bite out of the boat, and she decides to. I mean, he's hanging on. He's half of his nose is on the boat.
I'm gonna defend her a little bit.
Okay, she freaks out, picks up a big can of gas. I assume she was trying to hit him on the nose with it. Is that what she was going for?
No, I think that she was trying to.
No, then no one's that stupid to do what you would. Okay, she picks up the gas can, proceeds to pour gas all over herself.
But she's trying to get it on the shark.
See, but no one tries to light a Okay, wait. Let me just say out loud. If there's one thing you can't fight an underwater animal with,
that's what she had.
It's fire.
She fought with the tools at her disposal.
If I was in maybe there's an underwater flamethrower somewhere. I don't know, but you don't fight the ocean with fire.
Is it possible?
I'm pretty sure the ocean's going to win.
Is it possible that she is actually the smartest character in the movie and knows that it's an unstoppable killing machine, and the only chance that the rest of the people in the movie have of surviving the shark is maybe blowing herself up in it with her? It's the most selfless act in the entire movie.
She knows it?
Yeah.
Because, sharks' nose are sensitive?
Yes.
The way she picks it up over her head, I think she's gonna swing it down like a canister, and she's just like, oh, I didn't realize the gas can was open and the gas. But then didn't she light it on fire on purpose?
No, she shoots the flare.
Oh yeah, and then she picks up a flare and shoots it. And then
that's what I'm saying. It was part of the plan.
It's just fire and then boom and the blow.
To be fair, she did some damage.
Well,
that little life bar that you were talking about for the game, she knocked it down by 1 or 2 tenths.
Jaws got a big scar on his nose from the fire.
They said that would make. Oh, so by the way, one other thing that the director said was everybody kept saying don't show the shark, because that really worked in the first one, even though that was kind of an accident.
Right.
You want to add that Hitchcockian suspense element, and he goes, no. They've already seen the shark. We've already seen the shark come up out of the water in the first movie. We're just gonna. His mission statement is to show the shark as much as humanly possible,
which I think is a good idea if you have a good shark.
So that was the first. Yeah, that's the first big action set piece. Literally huge fiery explosion that you can see from the shore. But
there was a lady on the beach.
Yeah.
Or an old lady in front of her little beachfront cabin.
on her porch.
So I don't. She didn't know it was a shark, but she should have kind of noticed when the fucking shark was on the boat trying to eat her.
It was far out.
It was 30 feet from the shore. It was pretty close.
So between this and the missing divers,
okay, what is Amity? Is it an island?
Yeah.
Okay, there are other islands out there as well, right? Because the lighthouse is on another island. like uninhabited, just like a beach
I
island.
don't think that it's supposed to be.
Because they're like, oh, go out to the lighthouse.
I think that that's just no. I think that that's just where the lighthouse is on Amity Island.
Okay, because it seems like they would take boats to the lighthouse.
But in fact, in real life, that was shot somewhere completely different, where they built a lighthouse.
Right, whatever. I had this weird geographical, like when we talk about Tremors, how you kind of show it. I never get a sense of like where the bay is, where the docks are, where
right.
I feel like
that's because they shot it actually in two different places.
The lighthouse was only navigable. You couldn't navigate to the lighthouse unless you got on a boat.
Right.
Unless it was maybe like on the other side of a bunch of rocks, you couldn't like walk to the lighthouse, so you'd have to like boat around to it. But the lighthouse was always like, I'll take the boat back.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think that it's another island. I think that that's actually that's the lighthouse for Amity Island.
Okay.
It's just at the far, point of it or whatever, which makes sense for where you'd put a lighthouse.
Is it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
It's the best place to put you don't put a lighthouse in the middle of the landlocked area.
So the note I made for when the boat explodes, I said this is true sharksploitation. We've moved, even though technically Jaws is sharksploitation, we're like really now moved into a place where it's sharksploitation. We're gonna have boats explode. And the stakes were going to be raised. We're also going to have a helicopter get dragged down into the ocean. So, which I'm into. My problem with this movie actually is not. I like this movie, but it's
Jaws
like
is a superhero, not a superhero, but like he's a supervillain.
You know what? Okay, so before the thing I was going to say,
so my wife asked me. So it's like, was he like engineered in a lab?
Well, okay, it's funny you mentioned that. So Halloween.
Should we watch Deep Blue Sea with this as well? Was that part of the Jaws?
I like Deep Blue Sea. I like Deep Blue Sea. So
I like LL Cool J and his pirate or his parrot.
Deepest, parrot. Bluest. My head is like a shark fin.
Oh God.
So what was I going to say? Oh, I read a really interesting article about Jaws 2 recently, where I think that this movie predates Halloween. And Halloween gets credited as you go back to like Black Christmas, but like Halloween typically gets credit for inventing the slasher genre. And this article was making a point about saying maybe it was Jaws 2. Maybe Jaws 2 is actually our proto-slasher film, because he does act. This is more of like a Michael Myers style antagonist as opposed to the first one.
He also does go after a group of teens that are making out.
Yeah, exactly. That was the point of this article. But also
when is the first Friday the 13th?
Well, Friday the 13th is definitely after Halloween. Halloween, You're either Halloween or nothing. Like
right. Okay, because
Friday the 13th is a Halloween ripoff. That's
right. Okay.
Well, I'm not being mean. I'm just stating a fact. It saw a genre and wanted to copy it.
But it's not
it is. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
I really like the first Friday the 13th.
No, there's nothing wrong. You can. You totally can.
But it's different than.
I'm not saying that it's not. But
right.
you.
And they both have the same thing where they both have supernatural after a certain point.
I'm just simply saying if you make it's fine if you make a zombie movie.
Whatever. Friday the 13th is better than Halloween. Shut up.
No, it's not. So.
Wait, yeah, it is. I mean, I love John Carpenter, but the first Friday the 13th movie is amazing because you don't know who the killer is.
We'll do a rewatch. We'll eventually do one of these fucking podcasts for these things.
We're never doing Halloween because I don't want to watch Halloween movies.
Why?
I'm not into them. I don't need to see Busta Rhymes and.
That's like the fifth one.
That you just said I have to watch 5 Halloween movies. No, that's the 7th one.
I want to watch the Halloween movies.
That'll be the last one on our list.
At least watch the first 3. I have a note here that says jump the shark.
I've seen a lot of Halloween movies. Anyways, what?
I have a note here that says jump the shark, so I'm just going to say it so we know neither of us use that joke for the rest of the podcast.
I wouldn't have thought about it.
Okay. I don't know where we're at. We're so fucking in the beginning of the movie still. So
a killer whale shows up and it's got a big chunk. It's a beach killer whale.
Great piece of editing, by the way. It was just good. Like it's following the kids coming down to the beach, and it was like very impactful. And then it was like quick zoom out, and you see it. It worked really, and a really great practical, just gore.
Yeah,
looked good.
And of course they measure.
I got trivia for you. I don't know if this is true or not. But I heard it somewhere.
Asshole.
So speaking of Jaws ripoffs, one of the more notorious Jaws ripoffs is Orca, about a killer whale. And which I've been meaning to. I think I saw when a kid, but I haven't rewatched it yet. And so Jaws comes out, Dino De Laurentiis makes Orca, and then Jaws 2 comes out, and you kind of think that maybe that's them poking back fun at, that's why. Because in Orca, the Orca, the killer whale, kills a great white.
I was going to say.
And so that was like the fuck you to Jaws, and then this is the fuck you back to Orca.
Cute.
Yeah, cute. All right. Anyway. So also cute is fun is he's a scientist there helping him measure the killer whale and measuring the bite radius and stuff. And Brody's talking to the scientist and says like, well, I know that dolphins communicate. Is it possible that do sharks communicate like dolphins do? Because like maybe the shark that I killed, like somebody, one of its cousins or something like that is. Yeah. And then, well, he doesn't say anything about the cousins, but he says, do sharks, I know that dolphins communicate like that. Do sharks? And before she even finishes, she says, Chief Brody, sharks don't take things personally. And that's the only.
I remember that.
I actually kind of like that. That's the only point at which the movie ever becomes any kind of self-aware about like, why is this other fucking shark here?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It
just wants to eat.
It basically says to the audience like, we know that this is just us doing another shark. Let's just move on, okay?
Yeah. It's not like Jaws echolocated another Jaws.
No. So from there. Brody's got enough to go on where he thinks it's the shark, and then he eventually gets the film developed and sees the picture of a shark, even though it's kind of grainy.
And no one believes him that it's a shark in the picture.
Nobody believes him because it's an explosion, and that could have just been a boat accident. And this the orca could have been anything. It could have been eaten way out at sea and then brought in.
Okay, so at this point, Brody's all paranoid, and he goes and makes werewolf bullets, basically.
Yeah, he does.
He makes like
cyanide,
anti-shark bullets.
Well, it was like poison. Which I assume that was the nod to him, like, oh, I remember when Hooper used the poison, so I'll put the poison in the bullets.
Okay.
At one point, he actually called. Wouldn't it have been great if they could have gotten him back? I know that there's no way they were going to get. But I mean, Roy Scheider almost had a nervous breakdown making this movie. He literally pleaded insanity, like it wasn't court, but he tried to make it seem like he was insane so he could not be on the picture anymore, and they had to. Because he just didn't want to do it. This was coming off a Sorcerer, a movie that you hate that I love. He had a multiple picture deal with Universal at that point and was still contracted to make more movies.
Okay.
And he really didn't want to make this one. And but they wouldn't let him. They would let him out of the contract if you do Jaws 2. And he really didn't fucking want to do it. He didn't get along with the director right away. He just didn't want to be there. But so he tried to be crazy, and then they said, okay, but tell you what. How about we pay you more, and how about you get a piece of the thing and do all this kind of stuff, and the contract looks better and all these kind of things. He's like, all right, and then he did it. And I think it was a really good performance.
Yeah.
Roy Scheider carries this movie. Basically, if you like Roy Scheider, you're gonna like Jaws 2. You're not gonna be too bored by it.
Well, I was just gonna say, about the scene where he's making these bullets, where he's almost like a holotip. He puts a little bit of some kind of sodium cyanide, I think is what it was, or something like that, on the tip of the bullet, like in the little dimple, and then pours wax on it to seal it in. I don't know enough, but I don't know if that would.
It didn't look like it would work, but we never found out, right?
But also, he hit it, he hit him. He hit the bullet, so no one saw what he's doing. And I'm like, why are you hiding it? You're the sheriff. He's like, I don't know what his actual role is. I'm saying you're the top cop of the island, so you have bullets. No one's gonna second guess the sheriff with his revolver and his 6 bullets. I don't know why he had to hide them.
Because somebody would say, why are you making special bullets? I think this is just playing into the paranoia angle of the movie.
It just felt, I don't know, a little bit weird that he was hiding it. So move the plot forward. The developer guys are showing off the beach and everything to these prospective
those build condos on Amity.
And they're at the beach, and he's up on the shark tower.
Right.
And oh god, he's scaring people. Why did they have to call it a shark tower? Why can't they be like, he's up at the observation post? He's just making sure everyone's safe at the beach.
Because it's not the best script ever. And, yes, but then, how do we get around that? Well, I'll have a little girl that knows that that's a shark tower and says, no, that's a shark tower.
If they're so worried about people finding out about a shark and tourism, why the fuck do they have shark towers?
Right. And the funny thing is,
if they don't think there's sharks there, they wouldn't have a goddamn shark tower.
The shark tower is in the first movie too, so there must have been a need at least for shark towers to begin with. So good shots there, man. There's a lot of really cool cinematography in this movie.
Why isn't there a pole on the shark tower like a fireman? If you wanted to get down from the shark tower quickly, wouldn't it be best to slide down a pole instead of climb a ladder back down?
How do you know there wasn't? I didn't see that there wasn't.
He went down a ladder.
Oh.
Shark!
You can do the thing where you put your feet on the sides of the ladder and do that thing. Yeah.
I don't know that. Other than on a submarine or on a battleship when it's only 6 feet and they do that, I don't know that someone could go down a ladder 30 feet without using the rungs. Unless you're fucking ballsy.
It's funny you said submarine. It reminded me that the screenwriter was saying that the scene with the water skier. Was inspired by he saw a nuclear sub keep up with, it was there was some footage he saw back then where a nuclear sub came up and then kept pace with some speedboat or whatever, and he's like, that's what I need to do with the shark. I need to show that it's not just this big ass thing, look at how fucking fast it is.
Right.
So one of the best scenes in the movie. Actually,
I'll say the freak out at the beach.
Yeah, I think it's actually the best scene in the movie. But it's so while in the middle of all this, and the girl saying it's a shark tower, and him and the developers and Mayor Vaughn just saying, yeah, don't forget about it, just ignore that. He sees a shadow out in the shallow water, and he convinces himself that it's a shark.
Well, he has this like very internal, should I jump the gun?
Right.
Another one.
But not the shark.
Should I jump the gun and freak out and say shark, or should I wait and see? But then the shadow's getting closer to someone that's out there, like a little kid.
Right.
So he has to play it safe. But he could have just been like, get out of the water.
Right.
No. Hey, there's a fucking shark, and I'm gonna shoot my gun into the water.
It just keeps getting worse and worse. You know,
Yeah.
he keeps digging himself in deeper, and it's kind of sad. But like, yeah, you're taking out your gun and pointing it, and they're not even all the way out of the way yet. There's still like enough people that are still not in his lane of fire necessarily, but they are in front of him, and yeah, but then proceeding to shoot his magic poison bullets into the a
school of fish.
School of fish, in which he's being told by people at the beach, "Hey man, it's just bluefin. It's just bluefin, man." And it's sad. He knows immediately that he did something bad. He's like a dog that just knows what it did. And his youngest son comes up and starts helping because he starts. It's so fucking sad. Poor Sheriff or poor Brody starts bending down to start picking up. He doesn't want to leave those empty
Shells of the beast.
Shells of the beast. That's littering. And so and his kid comes and helps him
He had
too.
to write himself a ticket for littering.
It's a good scene.
Because I can imagine his mind just like, wow, the shit has really hit the fan here, but it wasn't actually hitting the fan. But
Right.
I don't know where to go from here.
And at that
I
point,
have to just disappear from the public now. I'm
Right.
even if I kept my job, like I have to
he didn't
outside.
get like re-energized with it until he saw the photo, right? Like that's what happens in between that now. Because at that point he would have been like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
I've gone nuts."
when he shows the photo later, which he sees the shark and they don't. That's and that's when they fire him.
And that's when they fire him. Yeah, so that's the Brody story, basically. The other half of this is that you have the kid and the sailboat. So everything up until this point, in addition to this Brody arc, is basically his son and just having you get to know these teenagers and hanging out with them, which I thought was kind of cool. The screenwriter again was talking about like at that time, like cruising was popular, like they're big cars, right? And so he said, well, this is kind of like that. What if I have them be in these sailboats?
Well, they're not, but they remind me of like all the douchey kids that go sailing when they're teenagers.
Right.
And you're like, you fucking rich assholes.
Yeah.
They all know about boats and how to sail and which port and starboard. And,
and they're all horny teenagers and talking about who,
And his dad says stay out of the water because his dad's convinced there's a fucking Jaws out there. And he's like, oh, but the girl wants me to go out. So I got to go with the girl.
I'm really surprised that so much of your movie revolves around the sailboats that how is Brody's son not more of a character in the movie? He goes back on, I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but he goes back on the boat and isn't even there for like
Well, he gets knocked out.
Why the fuck would you do that as a screenwriter? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know the younger kid ends up being, the in place of that, but that's where I know that there was some studio back and forth and push and pull between somebody, the screenwriter and the director, or some people, because this also like really fucking weird and stupid is Brody's wife, Mrs. Brody, Ellen going out on the boat, and then she just comes right back. Like it's just somebody said, I want her to have something to do with saving the kids, and then at some point the director's like, "Fuck this, we're not doing this." Or something. It was something like that, and
it becomes the Brody show.
I kind of feel like maybe the Brody, the elder, is it Michael?
Yes,
Michael's the older
Sean,
one, right?
I think.
Yeah, I think Sean's the younger one.
Shawn Michaels. He has a wrestler for a kid.
It's just a little bit weird that he's not more of a character, like for the whole
Shawn
fucking
Michaels.
third act of the movie. Yeah, just like Shawn Michaels.
Just like Shawn Michaels, the character.
So whatever. The movie, most of the action takes place because
his son drop kicks Jaws in the face.
Yeah, that's how the movie ends.
It's an old Shawn Michaels thing, right?
It's like a wrestler, right? Is that what you're doing right now?
Didn't he used to kick people in the face or something like that?
I don't know. I'm sure lots of people get kicked in the face in wrestling rings.
No, like he would do like a big like lead up and then kick right in the face, like real high kick.
His finishing move?
Yeah. He was partnered with like Caine or something, or some big big show. I don't fucking know. It's been a long time.
There's some other stuff. Some divers go down.
Okay, so anyways, all the kids get on their sailboats and they're going off to the island or the lighthouse or somewhere, and then one of them stops and is like, "Let's make out and do it." Okay, that's a question. So
they're gonna fuck.
I assume they're gonna.
Seen your notes already. They're gonna fuck.
They're not just making out. She says,
"Put down a blanket."
Wait. Before this, as the kid's sneaking out to go with his friends, the little Michael's the older one. Sean's the younger one.
We're going to find out in the comments.
I'll fucking look it up right now. But the thing is, on IMDb, they don't give them last names. So it's just Timmy, Polo, Ed, Jackie, Andy. And I don't know which one's which. There's Mike. Mike is the kid, but it doesn't say Mike Brody.
Mike, okay.
So I want to say the little one.
Well, no, Michael. So the younger one's Michael then.
No, the older one.
Oh, God, we shouldn't have even spent longer than 5 seconds.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like, the IMDb doesn't have him with the last name. So unless I look at everyone's names.
Whatever.
Like,
the older and younger brother. Okay.
There's a Mike, and what would the other?
It's Michael.
Andy?
Michael's
Mike and Andy? No,
Michael's
Andy's
the older
one of his
one.
friends.
Michael's definitely the older one. Michael's definitely the older one because the first movie, she says, Michael, get out of the boat right now. You listen to your father right now.
It's Sean, I thought. Yeah, there's a character named Sean.
Okay, well, then that's
So I
gotta be the
assume
younger
it's
one.
Sean. It's Mike and Sean.
God, guys, couldn't you just taken some notes before you started this podcast?
I didn't have subtitles, so I don't know their names. So Michael's sneaking out. Sean sees him and goes, well, I'm going to tell Dad. I'm going to talk real loud and wake up your parents. He's like, let me go out with you. Okay, I'm a parent of 2 kids. My kids are really young. But when he's like 9 or 10, I'm not going to wake up and go, hey, where are the kids at? I don't fucking know. He's out there somewhere. Okay, you're a 17-year-old. I get it. He can come and go as he pleases. You're 9-year-old, you're 8-year-old, whatever the fuck age he was. How do your parents not know where you are or at least have an idea of where you might be?
It's a different time, Kyle.
Exactly.
It's a different time.
Is the point I'm going to come up with.
You
It's the 70s.
can hitchhike. People left the doors unlocked. Okay, this is Amity Island, you know?
Like, I don't know where
got nothing to worry about except killer sharks.
My young
There's
child.
at most one molester pervert on the entire island.
It's like one pedophile per 1,000. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was just like, so they all sneak out together. So the kids, the young kid, all the teenagers, they go out in their boats. Okay, they're going out. The one boat holds back. They're going to fuck. She says, I need a blanket this time because my butt is getting black and blue marks.
Yeah.
What the fuck are they doing that her ass is getting bruised?
Fucking on the ground of the boat.
When your butt... I don't want to get into like physics and bodies and missionary.
What you should have been more concerned about was...
She said
my
like her
mother
mom
starting
was-
to ask
yeah.
questions as if why is her mother seeing black and blue marks on her ass?
But like, is he just fucking a donkey punching? Like
He's just balling her out, dude.
Yeah,
Out there,
I
you have
mean,
no idea.
He's just smacked. Or I mean, because if you're
You just say like what? Like they're doing it doggy style and he's hitting it so hard and then
I
she's
don't
getting bruised in the
know.
back. So she's got to put a blanket like it's like a buffer. Is that like
it's like an air balloon, like I put one of those the things you pack boxes with that has like the air in it to like give you a padding or something.
I don't know, just assume they're fucking on the wood and
But
that's
I mean, if
uncomfortable.
you would lay down on your back. Why would your butt be getting marks? So I was like, maybe it's because they're just sitting on wooden boats all the time. Their asses are getting bruised because they're just sitting on a. I don't know.
Maybe at one point it was my back's getting all bruised, and somebody said like they can't just know that it's fucking. You need to throw them a curveball. It's on their butt. Now nobody knows. Now it's confusing.
Hey man, I'm a grown up with multiple kids. I've never seen the black and blue butt. Like I don't know what this is from. I don't really know what's going on here.
Moving on.
One of the kids gets hit by obviously Jaws attacks like the whole group and they end up having to like tie their boats together. It's like this big good example would be Mass Effect. There's like the not the Gale but the one that Talia, she's the one that has the face mask that you can't she comes from I can't believe Talia, yeah, I can't remember the race now.
I don't remember.
They have they're like called the Armada. They're basically just like ships tied together.
Oh, okay.
If anyone remembers Mass Effect 2, it's like the idea that like they just find old derelict ships and they look at that one and they just kind of like amass them together and to make one big thing. All the sailboats just kind of get tied together because they're all fucking broken.
It's just smart. It's
yeah.
I mean, this is just more kind of ingenuity stuff, fun horror stuff. Like, what do? What's the best idea?
Like he disables all the boats individually.
Yeah.
So they kind of tie the boats that are left over and kind of just float and let the current take them. He kills the one horny boy who's about to fuck.
It's a good kill too.
I don't remember.
That's the one where he gets dragged and knocked into the boat.
Okay, that's what I made a note. It says, I love when he's getting pulled closer and closer and closer to the boat and the camera angle changes from the inside and you just hear boom.
And then he pulls. He's hanging onto it so hard that he pulls a piece of the wood down with him as he's getting dragged under.
I don't remember that. But
yeah, it's good.
Then Brody finds her. She's like in the boat whimpering and she says, a shark. And he's like, oh, it's a fucking shark. I knew it. I knew it was a shark. And then he's got to go save everybody.
Sends back all the other characters.
Yeah. You go back to land. I'll find these kids somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, finds them. They find the break point or whatever it is. Basically, like this little rocky outcropping with like power
electrical
lines. And then I guess that's like this is where like whatever they're on is not a river, but that's when it becomes open ocean.
Right.
At that point, the break point. And some of the kids swim to the rocks.
Are you just going to skip the helicopter?
Oh, the helicopter's going to save them. The helicopter lands. Jaws eats the helicopter.
Are you kidding?
It was a big deal.
Shark eats a motherfucking helicopter. It's funny because in my mind, I've seen stuff that's like so much more ridiculous than that at this point, but you know that it's coming. That I was actually kind of slightly disappointed. You know, I was like in my head, I'm like, the helicopter's actually going to be flying, like feet up in the air.
Out of the
it's
ground.
going to jump up out and grab it. If the helicopter had not been eaten by a shark, what would that have looked like? How would he have towed? Like, what did that have looked like?
He tied a line and he would have just like flown really low and like kind of pulled the sailboats with him. I guess.
Seemed weird to me. I'm just like, that's
Dangerous.
not going to work.
Well, it would if that rope was like 5 times as long, but he would have been like 10 feet off the ground and like really close to killing those kids.
One thing I want to say,
I'm trying to come up with a helicopter shark eating pun, but I got nothing.
This stuff was like still iconic. Like it's way different enough from the Orca. It's like, what do you do with boats again? But like the idea of having all these little racer sailboats is good, and it did make some kind of mark on the public consciousness because there's this
don't go in the water.
There's this French book that I haven't read yet, but the artwork's amazing and it has a giant shark on the front cover, so I bought it, called Cathargo, and just flipping through it, there's just massive megalodons. Like
is it the prequel to Ben Affleck's Argo?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Cathargo. Argo, fuck yourself. Cathar, go fuck yourself. Anyway, there's a scene in it where it's like a race. There's like championship sailboat people that get just fucking worked by like giant sharks. And I mean, that could have just been its own thing, but it kind of feels like somebody when they were a kid like remembered all this stuff from Jaws 2. So Brody makes it out there to help them out, and the last kind of action set piece is sort of just happening like 15 feet away from this rocky outcrop.
Yeah.
And the electrical pipe
conduit flexible conduit
that's been telegraphed like multiple times in the movie finally gets to come into play. There's also been brought up already multiple times that like sharks
we skipped the point that Michael, the older son, during the whole kerfuffle with all the boats and everything, he got hit in the head by the mast or the sail or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the movie just was like, fuck this guy.
And got knocked out. So when he met up with the girl who's like, a shark, he didn't know.
No, that's not what happened.
When did he find
There's
Michael?
a lot of back and forth boats going on. Brody goes out with Ellen and I forget the deputy's name.
Right, and that's when they find the girl. They all go back. Where does his son, where does he... Oh, he puts him on the boat.
No, that's not what happens because there was already a boat coming back with 2 of the kids that were fine with an unconscious Michael.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, keep going. And take Michael back, I guess. No, Ellen goes back on the they go on that boat with the girl. It doesn't fucking matter. All this stuff is really messy. Like,
all that matters.
Why the fuck wasn't Michael with the rest of the kids? Why wasn't he a character until the very end?
He was unconscious.
It's a movie. You can write it however you want. He doesn't have to be knocked unconscious. I don't understand.
But he was. So you understand. So it's just the little one. It's the
also,
9-year-old.
I'm gonna go way back again. The kids are in that like bar. Are they just drinking?
I was thinking the same thing.
I think it's different on the East Coast. I think that the drinking age is much lower, especially at that time.
It was just one of those things where like this is an island.
I don't think the drinking age was raised that
Who cares?
high until like more recent memory. Anyway, it's just kind of interesting. So
it makes me think of like Hot Fuzz. Like, well, we let the youngins around here indulge a bit because it's for the greater good. The greater good.
So Brody smacks on the pipe because he knows.
Yeah, and he gives that shark a little bit of a hot fuzz. Guns. Ka-choo, ka-choo.
Why is it a fuzz?
It's electricity.
Fuzz is electricity?
It's like fuzz.
No. Just it makes the same sound doesn't mean that's what it means. Fuzz is like what comes out of a fucking like...
Your belly button?
Yeah. It's like lint. It's where you say something's fuzzy. That doesn't mean that it's electrical. It just means that it feels nice when you touch it.
The dryer, you get lint and fuzz out of the dryer, and then everything's really staticky when you take things out of the dryer. So, henceforth, shark, electricity, hot fuzz.
I'm going to let the commenters be the judge on that one. Anyway, so he's smacking it. Oh my God, we need to get through to the next movie.
Jaws, jury, and executioner. I could do this all day. he eats the pipe and he electrocutes himself and he's on fire. There's fire coming out of Jaws' mouth like a dragon, but it's because he's on fire.
I really like that effect. I thought
great.
I thought they did an admirable job.
The only thing I was worried about is that he sinks back under the water. I'm like, did it actually kill him though?
Right, he's gonna come back in the next scene.
Is he actually dead? Because they didn't take the carcass.
And that's the end of Jaws 2.
That's the end of Jaws 2.
It's literally the end of Jaws 2. It's just and the end.
Yeah, it reminds me like an old kung fu flick. It's just like credits roll.
Yeah,
here's the scene of the beach.
Movies need to do that more. Actually, your movie's over.
The third one's ending. Whoa,
I love the third one. Are we ready to talk about Jaws 3D?
We are ready to talk about Jaws 3D, not Jaws 3, Jaws 3D. So okay, we're at Jaws 3D. You sent me a text earlier saying I really love your Jaws notes because you saw them on the Google Drive, whatever.
Yeah.
What, is this one of them? Because the first note for Jaws 3 just says terrible.
Let's just lay our cards out on the table.
Again, I've seen bits and pieces of this movie throughout. Like I knew
when I was a kid,
this was like the underwater, base or whatever it is.
I was going into this movie.
Okay, wait. Before we talk about the movie itself, let's just say, obviously the title has 3D. This was the 1983. This was like I want to say the height, but it was like definitely the fad of go to the movie theaters, put the red and blue 3D glasses on.
So you get Friday the 13th. This is Jason 3D who did the same gimmick
whole
where he
thing.
throws the machete at the screen.
Because this is not in 3D, you can tell. And I don't know the technology. Like I know how they shoot 3D nowadays with the dual camera kind of in a big thing, whatever. I don't know what they did back then, but because it's not in 3D and you're not wearing glasses, there's a lot of like chromatic aberration and colors come out really fucked up. It's blurry around the edges. Like whenever there's like a bright, like there's like the rainbow, like the things that hang or whatever. Basically, anytime there's a bright scene, like a really bright yellows and reds, the colors really. It's hard to describe, but it gave me a headache watching this movie because it was meant to be seen in 3D with those glasses on. So it's kind of blurry. See, I don't know. Did you notice that it was like looking at it like physically, it just hurts your eyes? And also, I like film grain, but this is like an extremely grainy film.
Yeah, this movie's a piece of shit. But
that's at odds with when you text me going, "Is it? I'm enjoying Jaws 3."
It can be both those things.
Okay.
I remember seeing some of this stuff when I was a kid, but I even a lot more so than Jaws 2, and even seemingly more so than Jaws Revenge. I assume it's because of the 3D thing. Yeah. It seems to come up more. It gets made fun of more.
Well, yes. I mean, besides the scenes where they deliberately do the 3D thing, I'm just saying, like, just all the time you're watching it, it hurts my eyes.
No, I don't have that problem.
For the most part,
a lot more sensitive about stuff.
The colors are.
I actually really enjoyed the 3D stuff. Like the limbs just kind of floating in the air and whatever. Like that initial thing where the shark, I guess you're first person. It's like a first person shooter, and he just annihilates some grouper. And the fish kind of just
the fish
face.
Floats,
yeah, I like that. So
this one does not age well.
Let me just say that, like I said, growing up, or being an adult or whatever, you hear about this movie getting made fun of all the time, and I was going in expecting it to be a giant pile of shit. And it's a shitty movie. It's a bad movie. I like it. I like it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I do. It's not, and I'm never going to say it's a good movie. I would never say that, not in a million years. But by like our own little horror movie standards, where we get to like the bad stuff, when you start grading it at a different scale, I would consider this movie to be a very guilty pleasure.
Like you could watch it, you'd watch it. And
I would watch it again. Yeah, and we'll talk about.
It's not recommendable to other people, kind of thing.
The effects. The budget and effects of this movie are so bad that it's unfortunate, because I think that even outside of the Jaws franchise, which I actually enjoy the fact that Michael and Sean are in it and they're adults, and I kind of like the continuity of that.
Right.
This would be a fun monster movie. Like this is like a proto Jurassic Park. This whole like what if a great white got like loose in this like lagoons experiment at SeaWorld. I'm into it. I didn't want to write it down because it would have been really too much work and a pain in the ass. But I started like mentally taking a note of just how many animals this movie shows you. More than any of them, more than any of the other films, even in the fourth one where there's scientists like studying creatures, like in this movie will just seemingly those divers that are poaching, I guess, things in the lagoon. It's just like they're looking at shrimp. This movie,
there's an eel and a turtle.
Somebody like a student. It's kind of like when like in Scrooge, where they said like, "Hey, I found out that cats are watching television, so we want to put more mice in this." It's sort of like it almost felt like just people like aquariums. People like go to SeaWorld for like just show people there's like moray eels, there's fish, there's this, there's all kinds of just creatures. Like
Dolphins.
I feel there's dolphins. There's like a creature being shown to you.
Let's not beat around the bush here. Wait, is there an underwater beat around the bush joke? I don't know. The main characters of this movie are the Sandy and I don't remember they're the dolphins. The dolphins are the main characters.
They save they're the
They're
protagonists.
everything. The dolphins are the main
heroes
characters.
of the movie.
It subverts your thinking. It's about the dolphins.
So let's get into it. The premise for Jaws 3D is that Michael is grown up and he's become an engineer and he works at SeaWorld, a version of SeaWorld that's in
No. I mean, literally the movie
SeaWorld.
uses the word SeaWorld. This is not like a knockoff.
Right.
This is fucking SeaWorld.
How did they sign off on this? You
Don't
know. But I guess the publicity was good. I don't know. I guess because everything else is fine. There's no like mistreatment of animals. Like
Right.
everything else you show the people enjoying.
But the guy running the place is kind of a like, I ain't spending money on that shit.
Yeah, a little bit of a racist character. No, not at all.
Oh,
Okay.
you mean race? Okay, he's not racist. You've created a character who's
kind of.
It was racist to create this character.
I kept waiting for he was doing because just I watched Django so much. He started saying some of the things that like.
Okay, so Calvin's like he's a black guy from the South.
Yeah.
So he has a very like accent, and a very Nolans kind of accent. He says something very specific. I can't remember what it is. He's like, "No saying," or "Did you hear?"
Yeah.
You got me. Shit. So yes, I can see what you mean.
You sit right here.
Right. Yeah. So, but what it is that he's very brash. He's very. I'm about my money. I'm a businessman. I sell tickets.
Right. But it's like public persona is like, hey, we got free drinks too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little racist, but at the same time, it's
I'm probably a little racist for bringing it up, I guess.
No, it's 100%. Like,
okay.
You haven't seen a black person in this series at all to this point, have you?
You know what I was actually thinking about that we were watching, just trying to keep track. There are occasionally black people in the background. I don't think there are. There are at least one or two in the first Jaws when all the crowds come to Amity Island.
I'm just saying, like, this is some of the whitest ass white when it comes to a movie.
So
series.
they really make up for it with Mario Van Peebles in Revenge,
right?
As reparations.
But by the third one, you have this character who, it feels a little insensitive, shall we say?
Anyway, so it's actually SeaWorld, and is it in the Gulf of Mexico or is it in Texas? They have southern accents.
Florida.
I'm thinking like Florida.
I thought it was Florida because they're sucking in water from.
Well, they have to be like obviously in the ocean because that's where we're getting our Jaws. So,
the SeaWorld's going through a soft opening.
Sure. Well, a soft opening of this big thing that they've created, which is a man-made lagoon that has an underwater. What would you call it?
Tunnel system that's made of glass. You can see through it as you walk.
Think about
it.
like when you actually go to SeaWorld, they do have something like that where it's like 10 seconds long, where you go along a thing and you can see some sharks from the bottom, and you're like, wow, that wasn't worth it.
Or like the aquarium.
They probably do that at the Aquarium of the Pacific.
Aquarium of the Pacific. I was like, what the fuck is it called? Yeah,
we live here in Long Beach, and we actually have a very like state of the art huge aquarium here.
Yes. Again, Aquarium of the Pacific. I didn't want to say Long Beach, but whatever.
Right.
During the seals, it's where the seals are and the sea lions, and the manatees. You walk through the whole thing, you see jellyfish, and then when you go through, it's a tunnel.
Right.
And then there's also another tunnel where it's just like fish and coral.
So the high concept here is what if a giant
restaurant
shark
underwater too.
Yeah. What if a giant shark got loose and
got into
and then was loose in this
huge
theme park environment?
Yes.
Again, to me, very proto Jurassic Park. I don't know when Jurassic Park was written. I assume sometime in the 80s.
I mean, it came out in 90.
The Michael Crichton novel.
Oh.
I mean, who knows? I'm not trying to say.
I know. We can never find that out. It's impossible to find out.
But even if, obviously I'm not saying that this is better or as good as Jurassic Park or anything like that. But
no, Jurassic Park, the book, is one of the best.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, like, do we give this movie any kind of credit?
It was in 1990.
Okay, so I'm going to give this movie some credit. This was the first, like, what Westworld, I guess, is technically, and it goes back to Michael Crichton because he actually wrote and maybe directed that movie. I can't remember. Westworld, I guess, gets credit for first being like, hey, theme park gone mad.
Right.
Theme park is a dangerous thing. Whereas this, I think, gets the credit for being the, like, what if, like, scary monsters, what if, like, the attraction itself, the creatures were eating the patrons.
Yes.
So I'm kind of into that.
We have a lot more water skiers they're doing the human pyramids, they're doing jumps off ramps. So we take from the second movie, we had the one skier
making it more,
and then you literally just
and nothing ever happens with it. It's sort of like a tease.
No.
They fall, but there's not like any massacre that happens with them.
But not an actual massacre, but I mean, there are points where the shark's out there and they're all in the water and stuff.
So Richard Matheson.
Okay, so let's just talk about the most important part of this movie. Leah Thompson is in it.
I knew you were going to put her on Leah Thompson. I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to.
She wears a bikini.
You're Back to the Future. Yeah. She
is so pretty. I'm not going to say, she's so hot. She's a bikini.
She's clearly eye candy in this movie.
She's more than eye candy to me.
Okay.
She's beautiful.
Which is how many steps above a human being, below being a human being, but above being eye candy.
She's a good actress, so she's good. She's a human being. This isn't Piranha Double D. That's eye candy, you know?
Oh, shit. I forgot to talk about this. We have to talk about this.
Why?
We have to. This movie was almost Jaws 3, People 0.
Really?
Yes. And the reason you just you made me think of that is because Joe Dante was originally going to direct it. And he did Piranha, or he was at least involved in Piranha to some extent. And they were going to have the National Lampoon's guys, right? It was going to be a full-on parody.
Wow.
And there's a script for it, apparently, that you can find and read. It was going to, like, Spielberg may or may not have been in it, or would have been an actor that was playing Spielberg, and it was going to be a big lampooning of Hollywood and the Jaws movie in general. Because they were like, what the fuck else are we going to do? Let's make a comedy. And then they decided, no, we'll try to do something serious. So I feel like
you could say, like, the shark was on vacation of sorts.
like a National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yes, you said lampoon. Like, yeah. Jokes are not ever that funny when you have to like explain why it was. Yeah.
Well, at least they
Chevy Chase show up?
Harpooned the shark. No,
is Harpoon a movie?
There's a restaurant called Harpoon Harry's.
Yeah, I know.
And they call it the Harry Poon.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's a local thing.
Right. So you fucking. You want
to go eat out the Harry Poon?
You derailed me.
You want to go eat out the Harry Poon tonight? Yeah, I know. It's a thing.
I feel like I've been tossed overboard.
Wait, no.
I'm floundering.
These are good. These are stupid but fun. Where are we at?
Will you throw me a life raft here? Because I'm drowning.
I want to throw you a life raft. I throw you a life preserver.
Life preserver.
Can't even do it right.
Okay. So the movie takes place at SeaWorld, which I know I said a long time ago.
Why am I not Googling like open ocean puns on the internet while you're talking? You know,
just to see how many of them we hit.
Yeah.
You do that at the end, right? People home will send you a bingo card.
Yeah. We should.
Anyway, so whatever, fuck you. Jaws 3 was supposed to be a comedy. That's all I wanted to say. And at one point, Jaws 3 might have been a comedy. It would have been a fucking parody. I feel like this movie has a slightly comedic tone that is still left over from its origins as originally a comedy.
I had interrupted you with Leah Thompson. That's where we got derailed.
Yes.
Or that's a train. Okay, anyways, keep talking.
Well, you brought up Leah Thompson, so I'll talk about that. One of the things I really like about the movie is...
She also plays the love interest for the younger brother, Sean.
The younger brother. So,
Michael's the construction guy, even though he's... Is he like a water specialist construction or just construction?
He's an aqua engineer.
Okay, because Sean, the
he's
brother,
an aqua architect.
is afraid of the water, lives in Colorado, so he's landlocked and will not go in the water.
Right.
Anyways, that has to...
Understandably so.
And at one point, Leah Thompson, they show interest. She goes in the water and says, "You need to come in." And basically, the idea here is that a vagina is more powerful than a shark.
Yeah. And you're skipping past all the stuff that I really liked in the movie that endeared me about it.
By the way,
endeared it to me.
The shark also has a vagina.
You're saying that sharks have vaginas?
No, I'm saying Jaws has a vagina. Because Jaws gives birth to a shark. There's 2 Jawses. 2. But it's Jaws 3. Where's the third one? You can't name it Jaws 3, have multiple Jawses, and not have 3 Jawses. Jaws apostrophe.
Where's the D?
It was the other shark that... Okay.
This is getting fucking silly.
Yeah, that's where the shirt shark was that made the other... Yeah. Woo! Okay.
Have we found our bearings?
I don't even know. I'm looking at shark puns. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
I just like...
You can just sit over there and laugh if you want.
I've got no fin.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, most people don't like puns, right? We're just like totally filleting ourselves right now with this. Okay, let's talk about the movie.
Oh my God, we need to have a fucking chalkboard in here. That's a really good one. That's also not. Wait, did you said filleting?
Yeah.
You mean filleting?
No.
Or filleting?
Yes. Filleting.
Wait, so you went fellatio, and I think you meant fillet, so I actually get credit for that one.
You do.
Okay. Whew. Why would you go with oral sex? What does that have to do with anything?
Because we're fucking sucking ourselves off these puns right now. We're talking about the movie.
Okay. All right. I think we should get to the rest of Jaws. What the hell's fink? I don't know. It's a shark pun.
Fink?
Fink.
Maybe it's a kind of fish.
Instead of think, you say fink, as in I think we should stop. Don't ask me why. Fin? It has fin in it. I don't know. This is jaw dropping. This is really bad.
This is Jaws dropping?
Yeah. These are really... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. Dive, as in the stock market took a dive today. Thank you for letting me know what dive means on the shark pun, punpedia.org/sharkpuns.
How big is the section for shark puns?
It's really long, but it's also full of stuff that's just like, that's not... The term taupe is a verb meaning to drink alcohol in excess, especially regularly, and it also refers to a type of small, grayish, slender shark. Because, of course, everyone knows what a taupe is. Anyways.
This is going swimmingly.
Yeah. This is pretty great. White. It's so stupid. All right. Back to Jaws 3.
D. Of course, you say that, but I'm still just waiting here with bated breath to make sure that you don't use another shark pun.
I'm not. Okay, so...
You didn't like my bated breath? That was good.
I know, they're all... if I had a marker, the wall, but I don't have a... So, let's get back to this Jaws. So, let's go back.
I actually like this movie, and I kind of want to talk about it, but
let's get back inside of Jaws. All right, let's get back in Jaws. Because the guy goes in Jaws.
Later in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
going to blow up.
I think you have something in my...
Sorry for blowing up this shark talk.
There's a lot of, problems with these sharks. Do I have something in my teeth? Because at first it was compressed air, and now it's actually just a human body attached to a grenade.
What else can you do to a shark?
I just none of these sharks can actually swallow the things that they bite. Is my main concern.
I don't have anything. Sorry. Okay, so what happens? The shark.
Okay, you hate this movie. Fine.
He gets in. They go looking for the guy that he eats, and the arm floats towards the screen, 3D effect. They find a shark.
Yeah.
They swim away. They says, "Oh, we should go kill the shark," and she says, "Oh, there's no great whites in captivity. Wouldn't it be amazing if we captured it?
Mm-hmm.
We'd be the only place in the world that has a great white." So they do that. They capture baby Jaws, which they think is Jaws. And I said to myself, I wrote a note going, Jaws doesn't seem very big. They got him in this tank. It doesn't seem very big. Well, it turns out that's not Jaws. That's baby Jaws.
BJ.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip past that. And the boss had said, "Hey, take Jaws out to a tank for publicity, so let everyone see it." And she's like, "Whoa, no, don't do that!" And then he dies, and everyone sees baby Jaws die.
Yes.
It turns out it's a different shark. Jaws is the mom.
Yep.
I like when they find the dead guy in the water finally, and the touristy people see him. They're in the tunnel,
and they
think freak out. And one of the guys just pushes the girl's face up to the glass window, so she's right in front of the guy's dead floating head.
You forgot the part earlier where the first time that they see the dead bodies was when they're down there with the submarine, and they just assume that it's part of the sunken ship exhibit.
Yeah, the poachers, the guys that were there trying to steal coral reef, got eaten by Jaws, and it's just a skeleton.
It eats the whole boat, by the way. It eats the rubber raft as well. The whole thing goes down to the water.
But it doesn't eat the bones. It leaves the skeleton intact.
I never thought about that.
Or it just bit his lower half, and then the other...
It just decomposed after that?
Or the other...
literally
bottom, yeah.
24 hours? Okay, I didn't say the movie was amazing.
The bottom feeders.
I like about it.
Maybe the bottom feeders.
The crabs picked it dry.
Yeah, they picked them dry. So and what it's supposed to invoke is an aquarium where you have the little, the treasure in the bottom, the bubbles, and then a skeleton. Yeah. He still has his beanie on, though. His skull is completely devoid of flesh, but he's still wearing his beanie. Jaws 3D, everybody. What do you really want to say about Jaws 3 that you need to...
I don't need to say anything. That's fine. It's a shitty movie everybody fucking hates. That's fine.
It's get everyone out of the water. People get trapped in the underwater tunnel. The doors close, and they're stuck in a room with half full of water, and they can't get out.
Just an octopus arm that grabs people.
Yeah, that's part of the funny bits. I think it was a good idea to have Calvin, which is the main guy. He's narrating what the scuba guys are doing underwater to the people that are in the control room, because he's actually telling the audience or the viewer what they're doing is they have these little ketchup containers that you get at a restaurant, and they fill it up with blood to attract the shark when they're underwater. That's pretty cool. The asshole Australian guy is I take pictures of sharks. He gets eaten somehow. He's in the water with him, and the Jaws goes, and he just somehow now he's just inside Jaws' mouth.
I think he just kind of sucked him in.
Right. He just and he's okay. And that's the scene I remember watching when I was a kid. He's in there for a while, and eventually he just gets crunched and starts he's inside of Jaws' mouth.
Yeah.
And Jaws can't eat him.
He just ran out of air.
No.
Yeah, he just ran out of air.
Eventually.
He's just stuck in there so long.
Well, no, he's in there for a while, and he's like, hey, what do I, whatever. And he has the grenade in his hand. He has a grenade.
Jaws has such a strong palate, like its tongue.
That's okay. It
pushes him up against the roof of his mouth.
Does the guy know that he's done for? Because when they see him later, he was holding a grenade when he's dead. Was he going to pull the pin and blow himself up with the Jaws?
Yeah, he remembered the noble sacrifice of the woman that was driving the speedboat in Jaws 2, who knew that the only way for to end the franchise was to try to blow up the shark along with herself. So she tried to follow her example.
But I guess Jaws' throat is just so strong it just like compressed him until he died.
Yeah, that's big.
I mean, if I was inside of a Jaws, I would probably die. But mine more like I would just.
He probably just died of fright, like you would.
Well, there's
and
blood.
I would.
There's blood though. There was a lot of blood, so I'm assuming the Jaws' like throat that crushed him and ate his top half, bottom half. Sorry.
Oh. Maybe the shark had indigestion and was like.
But then the body just like hung out in the mouth the rest of the movie.
He's saving it for later.
Yeah, hungry little morsel for later.
Maybe he was just trying to save the diver and carry him someplace gently in his
his strong jaws. His strong jaws were too. His jaws were too strong.
Since we return to Jaws 2, I want to really quickly say that Brody took one of the barrels from the first movie and turned it into a potted plant. It's out in front of their house.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was really nice. Okay, back to Jaws 3D.
Back to Jaws 3D. Let's get to the worst 3D effect of this movie.
Yeah, this is the part that gets made fun of the most.
Maybe the worst.
It's pretty bad.
First of all, at one point, also the dolphins, people rode dolphins to safety.
Yeah, well, that's cool. You know,
it is. They held on to the dolphin. The dolphin.
At one point, the one lets go, and oh no, and the dolphin comes back and gets him.
You're like, oh shit, the dolphins are. You can't kill dolphins.
Dolphins are faster than the shark.
Yeah, poke them with their nose.
Yeah, that's right. The dolphins fucking fight the shark.
Well, they do this in actually what dolphins do.
Yeah,
they kill sharks and eat them. Like that's a real thing.
This movie's based on reality.
No, okay. Something. All jokes aside. Dolphins
That's impossible.
Dolphins actually hang out in packs and they attack sharks. And they
poking them in the gills.
They poke them and then they kill them. They basically stop them and then they die and then they eat them. Yeah. So it's real.
They save sailors because they're aliens from another planet.
They also invade land at some point in The Simpsons.
So yeah, I'm doing a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. You're doing a Simpsons reference.
This is how bad Jaws 3D is that we just don't even want to talk about Jaws 3D.
I like Jaws 3D.
Okay, there's a scene where they're in the underwater control room. They have a big glass window, which earlier was a screen. Or no. Yeah, it was like a TV screen. Yeah. But now it's just a window. This is
the control room in Jurassic Park where John Hammond hangs out.
And someone took a cutout of a shark and put it on a film and moved it closer and closer to the camera so it got bigger until the imaginary glass shattered. And he's in the control room.
He had a pretty cool little stop motion effect.
Yeah. Why? Okay, out of all these effects, there's like maybe a second and a half of claymation.
It's funny because at that time, like that kind of effect people would say they would think that that's dated. That looks right. Phony and bad. That's my favorite fucking thing in the world now because
right.
I grew up with, Sinbad movies and fucking
Do you think
I'm leaving the door open for you? I'm leaving the dorsal open.
You don't open dorsals.
Open door.
Did you mean because you said Sinbad?
A door so you can make your Sinbad joke because I know you like him so much. I'm talking about the Ray Harryhausen films.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks cool. I was like, oh, it's just there for just 1 second. It's gone.
Which is weird because they had the budget. They spent some money doing a stop motion claymation kind of thing, and it's used for 1 second.
Right.
And every other effect is a CG.
It looked cool. It's the closest thing it ever comes to looking like a shark in the whole movie.
Completely out of place because it's never used.
It gives you scale. Like the camera zooms back and you look how fucking big that thing is. I liked it.
That's what she said.
She said she liked it. Cool. Good. That's good. All right. So yeah, it's a really bad effect, and then
So the grenade is hanging out in the middle.
An amazing feat of dexterity.
Yeah. By the way, did we not mention that Dennis Quaid is in this movie and he's the main character, I guess?
Yeah, I liked him in this movie.
Yeah.
I liked everybody in this movie. I haven't talked about
it. Who later is no longer Dennis Quaid. He's just some random guy.
There's a version of this podcast where I talk about how I like the people and the characters in this movie despite the fact that the movie has really bad effects. And I do like the general overall setup for it that Richard Matheson came up with as an idea for the script, even though it eventually made its way through the shitter. The people listening to this may have heard that version of the podcast if it wasn't filled with fucking puns.
Fucking puns? I'm making a shark pun. It's not fucking puns.
So they pull the grenade.
Whatever happened to Sean?
Shark explodes.
Where's he at? Oh, he was in the water with Leigh Thompson.
That's actually a bad version of the script because they should have done more with that, but it's just like nothing.
She got like hurt on the leg.
She gets
from
hurt.
The shark.
And he's like, "Oh, I'll stay with you."
You can see her boobs. I was surprised. Like, literally, I'm joking. Like, there's a scene like she was a shirt. It's like see-through, and you can see her nipples. I'm like, I thought she was too good of an actress for that or something. I don't know. You know, like they don't do nudity or whatever. I didn't think that was a thing, but whatever.
She was anybody at this point.
This
is before Back to the Future.
Back to the Future came out in 1980.
This is before Back to the Future.
Oh, sorry, it's 1983. Jaws 3. I was thinking Jaws 4 is 87. So, yeah. So basically, Sean is a chum. Get it? Chum. You feed chum to sharks and he's a chump.
Yeah.
He can't help.
I'm reeling. Okay, from here.
So Dennis Quaid has to use the pole or the rod to pull the pin on the grenade, and then they blow up the shark with the half Australians hanging out in Jaws' mouth with a grenade in his hand, dead. They pull the pin on it, and then you get to watch stock footage. I can call it stock footage or B-roll, whatever you want to call it, of Jaws 1 of a shark floating underneath the water, missing a head and bleeding badly. Literally, they show you the film from Jaws 1.
Then they swim up, or the dolphins help them. The dolphins don't help them because we're not sure if one of them didn't make it.
Yeah, they swim out, and then she's like patting the water, goes, Sandy, Sandy, and then the dolphin shows up, and then they're worried about the other dolphin, and the other dolphin does a fucking flippery,
it's a happy ending,
corkscrew jump out of the water. Oh, he's alive! And then we get a happy, picturesque moment with the sunset in the background and two CGI dolphins doing spinity-doos that aren't actually in the frame, and then it's a freeze frame, and it's like, woohoo, Joss Whedon.
I love this movie. Love it.
I don't know what there is to love about this movie.
It's a bad movie. This to me is a good bad movie. It's so bad. It's fun to watch, and I'm laughing, and I'm having a good time watching it. And I actually do like the characters. I liked Michael. I liked Sean. I liked his girlfriend, the trainer. I liked the fucking Australian guy. Like I like the people that run the park. I enjoy these little scenes of them like hanging out at the bar and stuff like that, and then going to make out in the lagoon, and then they go and fuck with them in the lagoon and stuff like that.
It's a good movie on paper. It just doesn't translate into a good movie in action.
I think that if this movie did not have the deplorable effects that it had,
right,
this would be a very entertaining, fun
monster
absolutely. Film.
It could have been a lot better.
I think that what everything that you're making fun of, I think that everything that people remember about it are the abysmal special effects.
Wait. Did we forget to mention that when they blow up Jaws, there's one of those shots where the bits of Jaws comes towards the screen and then floats there.
You didn't like that? I'm dying. I think it's funny.
Sorry. I liked when they were filling up syringes and they like squirted the syringe at the screen. That was pretty funny because that's a dumb 3D effect.
It's good stuff, dude.
Basically, Jaws was not the like end-all predator in this movie. So afterwards, I was praying for Jaws 4 to be better. Because I was like, I don't really want to watch this. Actually, no, sorry. I watched Jaws 4 before I watched Jaws 3. Never mind.
I hope we're at the apex of this podcast.
Is that really?
I don't know. Is that not? That means at the top,
Apex
right?
Predator.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you call it when you get to the top? Oh, zenith. And what's the opposite of a zenith?
I don't know.
Well, zenith is the top.
Zenith is a TV. I don't really know.
No, zenith means like you're at the top of something, and then the bottom of something is something else that I can't remember.
All I wanted to see was a movie where someone was like armed to the teeth with like weapons and shooting in Jaws again or something. I don't know. Not a bunch of dolphins saving the day.
Really? You wanted like aliens, but with
well, sure.
with
Jaws? I wanted
lots
Jaws.
of.
Wait, sorry. I didn't want Jaw. I wanted Jaws.
You wanted more than one jaw.
I wanted Jaws square.
I was promised more than one jaw in the first film. It's Jaws right there in the title. Actually, that's not true. You say it's because you're.
I like with the first Jaws movie. There was a lot of there's a whole 40-some minutes. They shoot them in the thing.
I'm not comparing to this to fucking the other movies. This is a shitty bad movie. This is not even a B movie. It's a bad movie, but I think it's a pretty fun bad movie to watch.
Is it Universal?
Yeah, it's still Universal
So
at this point.
Is Jaws going to show up in like the new Universal monster movie universe?
Oh man.
That worry you a little bit, right?
God.
Anyways, I imagine Universal has a bigger fish to fry. I can't even get it out. Bigger fish to fry. Sorry. Anyway, things are going swimmingly at this point, and we make Jaws 4. Sorry, no, it's not Jaws 4. It's Jaws the Revenge.
Yeah.
Because now we have a telepathic shark. Well, I don't know any other way to describe it other than we have a telepathic shark that knows where you do it. I can't.
How far? So if they go from Amity Island, which you assume is like Rhode Island or that area, right? So like in the north.
So Amity has nothing to do with Amityville.
No.
Okay. I mean,
Amity's not a real place. They shot the whole thing in Martha's Vineyard.
But I'm just saying that like I always conflated Amityville, and then hearing that Jaws was in Amity, like I didn't really know much about.
Wait, what's Amityville?
Like the Amityville horrors.
Amityville horror. No, I don't think there's any relation. I think
it's just like people getting eaten by a killer shark, and then some also like horror shit. Like, what are the chances they both call Amity?
I'm trying to think how far away the Bahamas are from the.
I don't know.
Because they go down to the Caribbean.
Right.
Like, how long would that take you? Like, how long would they take you by boat and plane?
Hey, Jaws is really fast.
It's a very fast shark. Or they're telepathic, and it's a different shark.
Okay,
and it tells the other shark.
The question here, now that we know that Jaws was a mommy, was a female, which I don't know if the other ones were, does that mean there's a family of Jaws?
Yeah, this is like son versus son. You killed my father.
Mom, you killed my
mother.
Mom, dad, my younger brother, my cousin, and now I'm coming back for you?
Yeah, he's working his way up the food chain. Well, no.
Yeah, so in this one, Brody's dead. He's had a heart attack.
From the fear. Of
yes.
sharks, according to Ellen.
This movie starts with Sean, the youngest brother, which...
I liked this scene.
I do too, actually. This is
where I was feeling hopeful.
Let's just... I like Jaws the Revenge. I think it's actually pretty good.
Wow.
Wasn't
expecting that.
It's pretty bad, but it's enjoyable.
But you think that's better of a guilty pleasure than Jaws 3D?
Oh, this movie is way better than Jaws 3D.
I found this one. Okay. All right.
So let's get into Jaws the Revenge.
I don't know what to make of this movie. Why don't you tell me?
I hope that didn't get cut off. Mako.
No?
Anyway, so Jaws the Revenge. Now, this is what the NES game is based off of. So I grew up playing the NES Jaws game. And then when I was watching it, I was like, oh, shit. This is I know all this stuff. So I already knew how the movie was going to end because I saw it in the game, I guess. I forgot what I said earlier about it, but yeah, Jaws the game in the NES, you turn it on, it's the Jaws title screen, you hit start, and the game just goes. Like there's no story setup, there's nothing, and it has this the boat has an engine, but it also has sails. So I guess it's like if the engine fails, you could sail back. That's a thing, right?
Yes.
This looks like a big sailboat, but it has an engine and everything. Underwater diving, the transponder to track Jaws to his heartbeat. One of the secrets in the game, which you know how to get it, there's a certain place you go and push a button, you get the little submersible machine to swim around in. It's faster. It has the ding, and he jumps out of the water with the fucking electrical shock, and you ram him with the boat. The game is
really,
yeah. So they made a Jaws video game and didn't make it model after
because they're
Jaws.
Japanese and they fucking this is the movie they saw or they gave it to them.
I don't know who developed it. I want to say it was like LJN, which is
all movies were Japanese at that point, right? In the
video
NES?
Games, you mean?
What did I say?
You said movies.
Oh, sorry. Video games.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's weird. The Jaws video game is based off the fourth Jaws movie of all things. So
that's funny.
It's a bit odd. Let's get into Jaws 4.
It makes sense.
Start talking.
What? Okay. The movie actually opens in Amity. I don't know why I said that. You would assume that it starts in Amity.
We already talked about that. So what happens? So Sean is now.
He goes out to take out a piece of driftwood or something.
Okay, but like he's now. So his dad's
he's now
dead.
the sheriff.
Sheriff is that
whatever? He's a cop. He's the top cop.
Yeah. Is he the top cop or is he just a cop?
He is the top cop. He's the top of all cops.
Yeah, it was made by LJN, the NES game. I remember the logo, I guess. The developer was Westone Bit Entertainment.
Yeah.
You know them.
That old gem.
Unaccredited.
We see Amity during the winter, which is a new one. This is the one winter movie. Actually, all the other ones have taken place during the summer, theoretically. This one, not so much. This one takes place in the winter. Everybody's wearing big coats and beanies.
Christmas
and shit.
time.
Christmas time.
Did you say that?
Nope.
Oh, they're literally singing like Christmas carols and stuff like that. Also, this company's made a lot of games.
And I really like this stuff. You spend a long time as a Jaws fan on Amity Island. Part of it is that you like Amity Island, and this was kind of cool to see this aspect of it. I enjoyed this actor, this young guy that I got to play Sean.
I feel like it looked exactly like Michael from the third movie. Not exactly, but like it looked a lot like not
Dennis
like the
Quaid?
same actor. No.
Dennis Quaid.
Sorry, the second movie. Like they did a good job of making it look like if the younger kid grew up, he would look like the teenager did in the second movie because they're brothers, you know. So.
Yeah. So anyway,
basically, I mean, okay. So he goes out there to clear some driftwood. He gets his arm ripped off by Jaws. Ellen said, was it before this that she felt that he was coming back? Like Jaws was coming for them. And then once this happens, it's proof Jaws was coming for my family.
I can't remember. Was she in the movie before? Was she even in the movie at that point? I feel like she don't actually even see her until after the son gets killed.
Yeah, because he's hanging out with his fiance and his mom.
Right.
And he's about to get married.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what you're getting yourself into? She's like, I do. That all stuff, you know?
I can't remember. Oh, that's right. There was the thing where they were making the pasta and he was like fucking around with her in the kitchen and stuff with his mom. Right? That's what I kind of remember. Like she was on the phone, probably. Like, with his brother.
Yeah. And he's cooking. He's cut his
It's
finger in
coming
bell
back to me
peppers.
now. Yeah.
At one point, she has a bad dream where a shark tries to eat her, but that's after.
Later.
Is
that first Jaws dream sequences?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost like
There's a lot of footage in this movie from the other movies. Not a lot. There's like a lot of flashback, like quick scenes of in like a weird gold.
Like the end of it is like, hey, remember how Jaws ended?
Yeah. But anyways, he goes out there to clear the driftwood, leans over, and Jaws bites his fucking arm off.
Jaws sets a trap.
Yeah, Jaws set a trap. You're correct. Jaws is very smart. He's like a supervillain.
Yes.
As we said before. What is Jaws at this point? Like, really?
It's Michael Myers. It's a shark.
Yeah. Once they kill him, he just comes back as a shark.
Since the second movie, that's exactly what it's become.
I mean, it's not a shark anymore.
No, that's true.
It's like this.
That's okay. It's a horror franchise. It's fine.
Right.
It's what it's devolved into. It's like a total sharksploitation slasher film.
It is. It's fine. It's at this point, you're just like, this is ridiculous. Fourth movie. Why is he so smart? Anyways, he rips his arm off and then he just bites the boat and then eats the rest of him. I thought he was going to get away.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to get away, lose an arm, and then he's going to fight the shark with one arm or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
He gets totally eaten.
Would have liked that.
He would have grown up to be like Quint with one, you know.
Yeah, that would have. Oh, how fucking much of that would have blown your mind if, like, back in like whenever this movie was made,
87,
like 87. Like, that's something you would do today, like a modern film. Then you would like flash forward, right? And then it would just be like, yeah, and he'd be fucking like 30 years older. Yeah. And then he would have like become the new Quint. That's amazing. We just sit here Jaws fanficking now.
Well, that's not what happens.
Fanficking?
Jaws eats him up pretty good. And then he falls in the water and they're like, oh, maybe he's going to like somehow get away. I mean, when you fall in the water, okay, back to the video game. For some reason, there's a thing. You're the safest in that game when you're diving underwater around Jaws. And you know where the safest spot is around Jaws? The surface.
Actually, kind of makes sense because I think that I've read that if you have like scuba gear or whatever, you are actually safer if you like go down to the ground or like like sharks don't really attack things like in mid. The great whites attack things that are on the surface, like seals and shit.
They come from underneath and come up. But also the idea that it's because there's lights above you, so you make a silhouette because you're blocking the light, whatever. In the Jaws video game, you know, you shoot spears. It's like a side-to-side 2D, whatever. If you go to the very top of the water, he tries to go past. He like can't hit you. So he just swims back and forth. So the safest place you are is literally on the surface of the water.
I see.
It's kind of funny.
They should have thought about that.
In some weird way, I thought like, okay, he fell in the water. Obviously, the most unsafe place to be around Jaws is in the water, not on a boat. I thought maybe he's going to live. Nope. No, he gets eaten.
Is it?
And that log gets chewed up pretty good, too.
Is it? For me, you know, getting eaten by a shark is pretty bad, but like because it takes place in the winter and it's snowing and cold, I just feel like it's that much worse that you're also going to be like, it's going to happen to you in probably what's freezing cold water.
Well, I mean, yes, but I would say the water is usually pretty cold anyways. But yes, it's probably even colder.
Oh, I always imagine in the other movies that the water's like warm.
Super tropical and hot and everything.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention that when Jaws 3, when he breaks in the control room, he like eats one of the like worker guys. Just like random, you know, actor. And he's getting pulled out. Camera cuts back. It's now a dummy. And Jaws is just chewing this dummy. And it looks so good. like bad good.
Yeah, I remember that.
So he's dead. She sees it. The older brother comes flying in and is like, Mom, and let's go to the Bahamas where I'm working.
Yeah, because he's no longer. I guess we're just gonna forget that Jaws 3D happened. Fine.
Yeah.
Because he's no longer a engineer who was supposed to go. He was supposed to go to South America with his girlfriend, who was she's a whale doctor, and they were going to live out their life there and have a good life together. Guess that didn't happen.
Well, I mean, maybe he was in Venezuela for a while.
He should just change careers completely. I'm gonna go back to school and do another thing that's like I'm gonna do biology.
Yeah, you're right, because he was a construction.
No, Jaws 3D didn't happen.
But this quite like he was scuba. I mean, he must be like specialty for underwater construction or something. So maybe he changed into a biologist. Right,
Or
it's
it didn't
close.
happen.
Or it
I'm
didn't
pretty sure
happen.
this movie didn't happen.
Not to mention that like Sean was older in Jaws 3 than he was in Jaws 4. It seems
My Alien movie 3 and 4 never happened. We're going to go back to the good one, Jaws 2.
Yeah, I don't know. So at this point, we need a sea change. Literally a sea change. We go from Amity to the Bahamas.
And a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
I thought it was great because
I think that the
There's a
scenery
lot
is
more
cool. The problem is that
sunlight.
it's a cool change in scenery, but the problem is that the water's so clear that it makes the shark look garbage.
I take that down to like
fucking garbage.
I take it down to like budget and stuff.
I mean that too, but I mean it's not scary. This is why I can go. We go down to like Maui and stuff, and I go snorkeling, and I can see because you can see around you for like 50 yards.
But I think that actually made it better because there's actually a lot more to see now. I mean, I understand
it was fun to look at. I'm just saying
Right.
there was nothing scary. I guess we're giving up on it ever being scary again.
I mean, yeah, whatever. I can sink my teeth into this movie. That's all I can say.
You already said that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Somebody did. There's no way we didn't.
Oh
say
wait,
it
how many
already.
teeth did you give Jaws 2?
Jaws 2 as out of 50.
Yeah, out of 50 teeth.
If
Did it get a whole mouth bite?
we're gonna do that at the end when we rank them all, I give Jaws 2 a 30 out of 50.
I'd give it 48 out of 50. It's almost a full bite. Jaws 3
Jaws 3
gets 3.
gets a 35 out of 50.
It gets 3 teeth out of 50. Okay, Jaws 4. Okay, let's hammer this out.
You're the one who wanted to talk about this one. I should be just sitting here fucking just launching punsy the whole goddamn time.
Well, wait. I mean, what did you like about it?
What I not
Okay,
like about it?
besides the fact that there's a telepathic shark that then follows into the Bahamas, and Michael Caine is in this fucking movie.
Michael Caine's cool.
That seems really out of place, but
Or the best place.
and he flies a plane.
I liked the people in Jaws 3D. I didn't really care about any of the people in this movie. I did like Michael Caine. It's fun to watch him hit on Ellen and be like a little dashing British guy.
Yeah, he tries to mac it up with Michael's
Dude,
mom.
he throws away it's a very expensive airplane. Just
Just try to save her.
way I haven't got it. That stuff's really dumb. No,
Okay,
I'm not gonna like shit all the say like no, I don't know. I guess I was kind of a bit more bored by this movie than the last one. Mario Van Peebles' accent is impossible. Literally every time he's talking, I am this really obnoxious. And
Oh, I think
irritating.
like laughing or something. I think?
No, I didn't think it was funny. I mean, should be funny, but I was just like, oh man, I couldn't. Every time he talked, it was actually kind of like it was like Quint's fingernails on a chalkboard in the first movie. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's definitely not New Jack City.
Is he? I have.
Yeah.
You know what I thought? You know what my Mario Van Peebles movie is that I think of when I hear that name?
What?
Solo.
What?
Did you never see Solo?
It's like an action movie.
Yeah, he plays like a robot.
Yes, I know what it is actually. I just didn't know that was the name of it. It's like almost like Terminator vision in that movie, like you see through his eyes. Yeah. Anyway, the telepathic shark thing reminds me of like the shitty alien novels that we did, where it's like they know who he is and they want to eat him because they didn't want to eat Mario Van Peebles. They literally just like the shark was like, "Oh, you're not Michael.
Right.
I'm not going to eat you." And then he chewed on that fucking boat for a while. Chomp, 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 chomp. And everyone's
trying to get rid of the
looking at him.
evidence.
What?
He's trying to get rid of the evidence. And then he like got overzealous. His eyes were too big for his mouth.
No, yeah, because like they just sat there on the boat watching Jaws just slowly.
He just at some point he says, "You know what? This is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be."
Also, it's wood. It's not even like edible or yummy. It's just hard wood, whatever. Oh man.
Go down to the Bahamas so they study snails.
Which in the video game you get shells. That's your currency.
Yeah.
To buy stuff.
Yeah.
Mario Van Peebles knows how to make a shark transponder tracker with a tennis ball tube and
Some
a
MacGyver.
couple wires and a piece of just drops it in there and seals it.
Yeah.
Totally works.
They make a sandcastle.
Basically, the mom says the shark's gonna come eat you. He goes in the water and sees the shark and goes, "Holy shit!" Then doesn't tell her. Oh, by the way, you were right. And I'm gonna keep going in the water. I'm gonna keep just studying
They're
snails.
playing around with the shark. Just
like it's
playing
no
around
big
with
deal. After he just chased me through a goddamn sunken boat, and I had to undo my air tank thing, and then have it shoot me to the surface, which wouldn't have given him that would have given him the bends, right? Like in the other,
It's pretty shallow water there.
if you're 40 feet down, 50 feet down, you can't come up that fast, can you?
I don't know. I don't know anything about scuba diving.
In the other movie, I want to say number 2, they had the scuba divers that were in the
we
water.
skipped right past that because it didn't matter.
She came right up too fast, and she had the bends.
Right.
So this is not a real movie. You don't follow physics.
what was the shipwreck scene? What you said might have been an inspiration for something. What did you say?
Finding Nemo.
Oh, I was gonna say not really. Little Mermaid, I think, predates both of those things. So
I don't remember the scene that you're talking about, though.
Little Mermaid begins with her like trying to get shit out of a shipwreck and a giant shark like trying to get her in a ship.
Well, fine. You're right.
Yeah, I am right.
That would probably be a lot earlier than, yeah. Do you need me to look at shark puns? I will look at more shark puns.
No, I didn't need you
No,
to,
but
actually.
so when I saw that scene, I thought, of course, Finding Nemo. So I don't know. What else?
Michael Caine, I think got nominated for an Oscar or won.
Oh, maybe someone was watching Jaws 4 when they were drawing Little Mermaid, since Little Mermaid is 1989. I was fucking right.
Oh, this came first?
Yeah.
Okay, no shit.
So they must have watched. There's probably some movie out there where someone's in a sunken boat and a shark's going after him. But when I saw it, I was like, this feels like the Finding Nemo scene.
Yeah. Suppose nobody's done that in a video game yet. Or maybe they have.
I don't know. I didn't play the Jaws
Be cool.
PS2 game.
Yeah, the
We
one where
play
you
as
play
Jaws.
as the shark. Because Grand Theft Auto, motherfucker.
Underwater.
That's kind of the game it is, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
sort of
think so.
open world and you just go fuck with shit. It's not a bad idea.
Okay, so whatever, shark's there. You say Jaws 3D didn't happen. If this is a continuation of the series, like, I mean, everyone's the same. All the shit happened. His wife went from whale doctor to sculptor.
Yeah, she gave it all
She
up
gave
to
up to
be
be an artist?
or he got divorced, or he never got married. You know, they weren't engaged or anything, or married or anything in the first movie. So,
And they have a kid. And
she really likes fucking.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes in there.
She
about,
says it. I want to say like 4 to 5 times. There's a line for her in the movie about how, hey, and don't think I don't like sex, because I do.
Well, Mario, like for Christmas or something, he gives him a shirt, and it's a really like colorful. What's the right word here? It's a really loud shirt, and he's mentioned something about having lots of sex.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, and in front of his mom.
And then something to his mom later about like, well, I was hoping to have a long sex life, something. And then he's like being very pensive and looking out the window, and she slingshots her panties at him.
Yes, that was a really like. I don't mean to be mean or anything, but I didn't take her as like the sexy sultrous kind of woman. And so when she did that, I was like, this kind of just dirty.
It's not just her though. He's like, I'm turned on by sweaty.
Look at my hairy chest.
No, he says I'm turned on by sweaty artists that know how to weld. Like, let's fuck in your shack.
Oh, I skipped that scene. The one where they're in their
Okay.
yeah, that shack. I just remember just like, look at my beard, look at my hairy chest. It's the 80s, right? I don't need to shave this for another 20 years.
They're just lame. There's nothing to like about it. It's just
Okay,
not
so
funny or
at one
endearing or
point,
anything.
Ellen decides to just get on a boat and like go out there and confront Jaws. Like, is she gonna yell at him?
I have no idea what that.
Like, was she
what-
gonna go suicide or offer herself up as like a sacrifice?
I feel bad because I like Ellen's a great character from the first 2 movies, and I actually kind of for what this was like. I mean, she did good with for what she had. I mean, it's a fucking just silly ass concept that like the psychic shark coming back to get you and everything like that. I mean, God bless them for taking it seriously.
Right.
But good Lord, do they not know what to do with this character in the script? Like in the second one, we're gonna have her take a boat halfway out to maybe get in the action, and then we're gonna send her back. And this one, I don't know how with the climax. We'll just have her go out there for no reason, and then everybody else will have to save her, and that'll be the climax of the movie.
Right. I mean, and she knew Jaws was chomping at the bit to get her, so I don't see what she was trying to accomplish.
If it gates me, then it'll give up.
That's what I'm saying. Was she like, if she's like, oh, let him eat me, well, she'll stop, or he'll stop, or I don't know if Jaws is a woman anymore. I don't even know. I don't know anything. This movie, I don't know anything. I don't know what's going on anymore. But I liked it.
All right, fine, fair enough.
They hop in the plane. Michael Caine, Mario Van Peebles.
Can you tell me how they killed the shark?
So in the video game, they dropped bombs from a plane, and I was really disappointed to see there was no bombs being dropped by a plane or cannonballs being dropped by a plane in this movie. Also, Jaws ate the shit out of that fucking plane. Just landed a plane of water. He's, I'm gonna eat this fucking plane. Like,
nobody's getting this plane back. It's mine.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna like blow up the plane with the gas in it. Like,
That's
I don't
not
know.
enough money for that.
What did you ask me?
How did they kill the shark?
Okay, I was gonna ask you this question. So.
I know that I don't know that the shark exploded. I know that something filled with red jelly exploded on front of a camera. I know that happened, but I don't actually know how the shark dies.
So, like, Mario Van Peebles creates this, like, flashlight with a battery on it that's going to be a strobe that's going to irritate him and make him go away. But then when they use it, it makes Jaws jump out of the water.
I think they said that it, like, fucks with his internal, because sharks sense electricity or something.
Right. It was supposed to be like, okay, if we can get him to, like, stay away from us if we keep pushing the button, but then he like uses it and Jaws jumps out of the water every time, which is what the video game does. Then Mario Van Peebles gets like eaten by the shark, but he doesn't die. He gets taken underwater in the mouth and in the jaws of the jaws. That's
right.
But nope, he's cool.
Yeah.
He just spits a little
blood. It's just a scratch, man.
And then they stab the jaws with the edge of the boat. The tip of the boat.
Yeah, like in The Little Mermaid. Really? Yeah. This big.
I haven't seen Little Mermaid since I was a kid.
Little Mermaid's actually a really good fucking movie. Ursula, giant technical lady, and then the prince guy steers one of the shipwreck ships that has been brought up from the depths by her storm, and there's a big broken mast on the front, and he steers it into her and stabs her ass, like impales her shit, like right in her belly.
Pushes her shit back inside of her?
Yes.
Impales her shit.
Impales shit.
Wow.
And that's how she dies.
I don't remember that scene.
Is that what happens in the movie? Do they impale the shark with the mast of the boat?
Yes.
Okay, then this movie is a fucking inspiration for The Little Mermaid in more ways than one. This is what I'm saying.
At this point, Jaws 4 might be the greatest movie ever made.
Yes.
if you like this.
But seriously, though, how does the shark blow up? Because it, like...
I really don't know.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, I'm laughing at... I was at the beach today when I saw a man in the sea yelling, "Help, shark, help." I just laughed. I knew that shark wasn't going to help him.
Oh, we have fun.
What's a shark's favorite Bible story? Noah's shark.
Oh,
yeah.
I was going for Mark, some kind of Mark thing.
I need to look it up. I need to look at how...
I don't know how the fucking shark dies. It gets down, it blows up.
It doesn't just die from... like if they impaled him...
What's her stinger? What's her line? Because they flash back to Brody saying, "Smile, you son of a bitch," right before she says...
I don't know. No, she doesn't say...
To hell with you, mister. She says...
Yeah, that's what you say before you kill a shark. "Oh, I've had enough of you, sir." I mean, I'm gonna...
Be gone with you, psychic shark.
The multiple endings in Jaws 4, huh? I don't know. Supposedly, part of the thing with the electrical impulses, there was like a gunpowder bomb in there or something. I don't know. He blows up when they hit him with the boat, and then you see, again, I think scenes of Jaws 1, of a Jaws floating to the depth with blood everywhere, literally from the first movie, for the third time.
Does it just end right there again, like the end?
Kind
like
of.
all the other movies?
It's like, oh, and then earlier Michael Caine had been like, there's a boat over in this area, go pick them up. So there's someone...
How amazing would it have been?
Because the boat is fucked up at this point. It's like they're jumping in the water because the boat's all broken. So I think a helicopter's coming out to like save them. Plane, I don't fucking know.
How fucking cool would it have been if up until this point you're watching and you're like, well, I guess they're just going to ignore Jaws 3D. But then in I would Marvel Universe fucking like connection twist, the dolphins show up and help them at the very climax, end of the movie. And the movie ends exactly the same way with them spinning next to the end logo at the end of the movie.
That would be a tall tale. I wouldn't want that. Shark tail.
You mean a
tail?
It's the tall. That's not. Were you punning right now? That's not a pun.
The tail, the shark tail. I don't know. Instead of saying megalodon, you say megalodon. That I don't want to touch that pun. It's inevitable.
All right. You want to put this to bed?
I want to go to bed. Yeah. You want to rank them? Wait, what?
Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm done talking about it, man.
Rank them.
You said you like.
I'm looking at more puns. Okay. I'm looking for more puns to end this with.
I'm so sorry. This is a bad podcast. I apologize.
So let's rank the Jawses.
Okay.
In order. You go. Go first.
1, 3, 2, 4.
How could you rank 3 over 2? 2 is like Jaws 1. Just if Jaws had not gotten made and they'd made Jaws 2 instead, you'd be like, that's Jaws.
I kind of enjoy 3. It edges out 2 maybe a little bit for me.
I don't see. You're wrong.
You can't.
Fine. My ranking is.
I can watch. Let me try it again. Hang on. Watch. 1, 3, 2. I can still 1, 3, 2, 4. I can still do it.
I'm gonna rank them 4, 2, 3.
Whichever
1.
one's the newest one. That one.
I hate Jaws 1. I think the first half of that movie is worthless.
I think we're breaking up.
Jaws. It goes in order.
No, it's chronological.
No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Objective.
1, 2, 4, 3.
No, I like 3 more than 4.
There's a lot to. If 3 was a better movie, it would be a good movie.
3's got just more dumb, fun shit in it than 4 does. There's things to look at.
It just
looks... like a shark in a pond, it's dying, and they all dive into the fucking lake pond to, like, save it. Like, That's not in 4.
Right.
That's not in 4. There's a big octopus arm as part of the exhibit that grabs people as they go, oh, no, it got me. That's not in 4. There are dolphins that help them do things in 3. That's not in 4.
I mean, you're right. There's like silliness in 3, and 4 is a very serious movie.
Yeah.
I mean, not.
There's full on. You get to at least watch like real animal performance, like training and shit. Like in 3, that's not in 4.
All right. Well, let's end this. We're done. That's the ranking. That's Jaws. Go watch Jaws 1 and 2. If you
just go watch
4.
Jaws if you've never seen fucking Jaws.
Yeah.
I think usually I say don't even bother with the sequels, but I'm going to burden everybody with all of them. I think that you should watch all of them.
Hey, if you don't like Jaws, whatever. There's plenty more fish in the sea.
All right. Good night.